perfectly nice dog doesn't like cats.
Apparently not. He found the cat and began to attack.
And a dog's owner gives no sympathy.
This nice man did a kind gesture.
Well, if I had it to do over again, I clearly would not have allowed my cat to die.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheinman. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy. Patrick Dawson is suing his neighbor, Jess Salzman, for vet bills, medical bills, and pain and suffering after Jess's dog killed his cat.
Order. All rise. Case number 67 on the calendar, the matter of Dawson versus Salzman.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Have a seat.
Mr. Dawson, first thing I'm going to tell you is I think that you're a really nice guy.
Thank you.
I'm not so sure that the outcome of this case is going to be a happy one for you or for me, but I think that you're a really nice man. These are the facts of the case. The defendant has a dog. This dog looks like a lovely dog.
Yes.
The dog got out of their control. He says, and he'll tell me further, that it was because owing to this vicious hurricane, the fence backyard. Anyway, the dog found his way to your house. You saw the dog. Looked like a nice dog. It had a tag. You brought the dog inside.
Well, the dog came inside. My friend who found the dog came to tell us that there was a dog in the front yard. As he opened the door, Mocha ran into our house.
Okay.
I don't know if that's correct, Your Honor. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. It wasn't my time.
No, it wasn't your time. You'll know when it's your time. You didn't put the dog out.
No, we did not. We called the owner.
You did the nice thing. You called the owner. While the dog was in your house, there was an incident involving your cat.
Yes.
The cat was injured by the dog. And you want Mr. Salzman to be responsible for the vet bills.
That's correct.
Also, you had certain injury to your hand. I don't know how that happened. It wasn't clear as a result of this incident. Mr. Salzman, in effect, says you were a nice, good Samaritan, but he's not responsible for the vet bills for your cat. Tell me on what date this took place, Mr. Dawson.
The early morning hours of January 24th, around 1 a.m.
You were up at that time?
We were having a party, and the party was dispersing, so there was about 5 or 6 people present, and as the first person left is when we found Mocha.
And the dog was in your front yard?
Yes.
So tell me the events that happened after the dog was found in your front yard and came into the house.
Certainly. So I was actually cleaning up from the party, so I didn't actually see the dog come into our home. My friend Ronnie was the one who actually placed the phone call to Mr.
You looked at the dog's collar?
Yeah, I bent down to take a look at the collar by the front door.
And there was a number?
Yeah.
To call. The dog did not have a leash, just the collar.
Correct.
Were there any animals in your house other than the cat?
We had 2 cats and 1 dog.
You have a dog?
Yes.
So you have a leash?
Yes.
So, I mean, you could have, if you wanted to at that point, put the leash on Mocha and held it at the front for the owners to come.
Well, Mocha seemed very domesticated, well-trained. We didn't have a concern.
Right. I got it.
Yeah.
Did you reach Mr. Salzman?
I didn't. I left a voicemail, figured it was 1 a.m. He wasn't answering a strange phone number.
Were you home that night, Mr. Salzman?
I was, yes.
Were you sleeping?
I was, yes.
When did you finally get the message?
A couple minutes later, and I phoned him back at that time.
So it was immediate?
Yes.
Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So a little after 1 o'clock in the morning. How far do you live from each other?
About 2 blocks.
Did you walk over?
Yes, I did.
What was the weather outside?
It was very windy. It's what they call Santa Ana winds out here in Orange County. Extremely windy.
Well, you described it as a hurricane.
Well, we don't have hurricanes out here, but the wind force was like a hurricane because the back gate that encloses the backyard was blown off its hinges.
Mm-hmm.
When he phoned me and I returned my call, I went outside to check.
What was the dog doing outside?
The dog was backyard.
Well, I understand that, but if there are vicious winds outside that you describe as a hurricane, why would you leave your dog outside?
The way that the dog is, you have outside and then you can go into the garage. So he has his own little area in the garage, but I leave the garage door open so he can go outside if he wants to do his business. But mainly he stays inside the garage or inside the house.
I'm talking about at night.
At night, there's a door that allows him to go from inside the garage, which is an enclosed garage.
When is he inside the house?
Whenever we bring him inside the house.
That's not an answer.
Well, I mean, it's the truth.
That's not an answer.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
Your Honor, I don't recall any winds that evening. The weather seemed fairly normal for Orange County. I don't know if we have a weather report, but...
I do, Your Honor. I have a documentation saying there was 46-mile-an-hour winds.
That's okay.
Okay.
That's okay. He's still, whatever it is, he's responsible for having his dog under his control at all times. That's his responsibility. Don't speak, I'm not speaking to you. That's the responsibility of a pet owner. I don't care if there's a tornado, a typhoon, whatever it is. He's responsible. If there are heavy winds and he's thoughtful enough to bring the wind report, then he should have been thoughtful enough to bring the dog into the house at night so that the dog would not be outside during these very heavy 46-mile-an-hour Santa Ana winds. That's his responsibility. Continue. You brought the dog, domesticated.
Yes. My sister actually spent probably 10, 15 seconds greeting the dog.
Fine. Looks like a perfectly nice dog. The problem is the perfectly nice dog doesn't like cats.
Apparently not.
Something that he neglected to tell you when he came in the front door.
It would have been nice.
I like people.
It would have saved us some trouble.
But I'm not crazy about cats.
Right.
So what happened with your cat?
So within 30 seconds of Ronnie placing the phone call, it was very quick. Mocha had made his way into our computer room area, which is where my cat was. At that point, he found the cat and began to attack.
So it was fast.
It was very fast. At that point, I went over to break up the fight. They actually chased each other around our dining room area behind a table, which was difficult to get to. Roscoe managed to escape and get close to our bathroom area, or their downstairs bathroom. That's when I was able to secure Mocha by the scruff. He had Roscoe in his jaws, actually clamping down. At which point I struck Mocha on the snout 3 times. He released Roscoe, who clearly was very injured, and slinked into the bathroom. I then placed Mocha into our garage and waited for Mr. Salzman to show up. At that point, I had to wake up my wife to try to take care of the cat.
I got it.
Okay.
That's what the case is about.
Yes.
So that's why I started off this case by saying, Mr. Dawson, you appear to be a very nice man and a very kind man.
Yes.
Clearly, Mr. Salzman has the responsibility of keeping his dog. The question is, once you invited the dog into the house, did you assume any of the responsibility? Because what appeared to be a domesticated animal, which is clearly a domesticated animal, doesn't like cats. That's something you can't know. And when I read this case, I said, gee, sometimes Good Samaritans finish last. But you could have done several things. You could have put a leash on the dog and kept him at the door, tied him to the door until you found out whether he liked cats, whether he was housebroken. I mean, if he came into your house and relieved himself all over your living room sofa, would you believe that Mr. Salzman would be responsible to buy you a new sofa? If he appeared to be a domesticated dog, then you would believe that he was also house-trained. But what if he wasn't house-trained? And what if he destroyed you in a 15-minute period? He did thousands of dollars worth of damage to your home. You had the ability to keep him on a leash. You had the ability to put him in the garage, keep him in the garage. You chose not to do that.
Well, if I had it to do over again, I clearly would not have allowed my cat to die. Yes, but I also don't think that, given the circumstances, the quickness of the attack, we didn't have a lot of time to take some of those measures.
Well, you did, because all you had to do was, in the brief moment that he spent calling the defendant, you say, you have the number? Great. Put him in the garage. He looks like... If he had attacked your cat on your porch, he would be paying the vet bills. If he had jumped on the hood of your car and scratched your car, which was outside, he would be paying to repaint your car. If he caused any damage outside, if you were outside and he bit you, he would be paying your damages. But you invited the dog, not knowing the animal, into your house, and just as the idea of him paying for a new sofa would not sit well with you, right? It just doesn't sound right.
I would challenge that we invited the dog in.
You would what?
I would challenge that we invited the dog in. I don't believe we invited him in.
So you did. And you allowed him to stay in because you just told me that your sister was there.
My sister did greet the dog.
And she did greet the dog, and she found him to be domesticated. Those are the words you used.
I did. I did not invite the dog in. It was my home.
Well, then, if you saw your sister interacting with the dog, do you understand what I mean?
I understand.
So I'm not happy with the legal conclusion that I've just drawn.
Well,
but just as I would not be able to, in good conscience, award you a new sofa had Mocha damaged the sofa irreparably, or new carpeting. Similarly, I don't think that he should be responsible, not knowing whether the dog was friendly, liked other animals, had a dislike for cats. The fact that he allowed the dog to get out at all is a problem.
Right.
And it would have been reasonable for me, Mr. Salzman, if you were a reasonable person, to say, listen, you suffered this injury. I don't believe I'm responsible for the injury, but you did, in fact, welcomed the dog, who I clearly like. Who is this?
Oh, that's Mocha, and that's my daughter, Alexandra.
And my daughter clearly likes the dog. So instead of the dog being run over by a car at 1 o'clock in the morning, you did the right thing and bring the dog into your house. At least let me share the vet bills with you. If you were a nice person, Mr. Saltzman, that's what you have done.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If you were a decent human being, you would have said to him, I think I'm at least responsible for part of the vet bills. Did you say that to him, Mr. Saltzman? The answer is either a yes or a no, not a whole Geschichte.
And later today,
How do you support yourself?
My business basically is cash business.
You know, I'm getting an uncomfortable feeling about this case.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Salzman owes for vet bills, medical bills, and pain and suffering after Jess's dog killed his cat.
Okay. We would be not standing in the same place if, because of your neglect in not allowing the dog inside during these vicious winds,
It's funny
the dog got out and somebody ran over the dog in front of your house, and your daughter went outside and saw her dog, who she clearly likes, cut in two.
Yes.
Instead of that, this nice man did a favor, did a kind gesture. And if you were a decent human being, you would have said to him, I think I'm at least responsible for part of the vet bills that you incurred for your cat. Did you say that to him, Mr. Saltzman? The answer is either a yes or a no, not a whole Geschichte. Did you understand my question? Did you say that to him?
I did understand your question.
So that's either a yes or a no. Either you said.
Yes, I did offer to pay half.
Did you?
Yes.
Great. How much were the vet bills?
$1,106.
Half of that, $500, judgment for the plaintiff, that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I think the reaction was fair.
I'm glad they got their dog back. I'm just sad I had to lose a cat for it.
I'm very surprised that this happened.
Cat suffered a broken femur right at the joint, and that surgery would have cost $6,000, and the cat was 15 years old. So, in kindness to the cat, the choice was to euthanize at that point.
Oh, of course I have remorse, yes.
Next case.
All parties in the matter of Vaisfeld versus Cole. Step forward.
Diana Vaisfeld is suing her ex-roommate, Austin Cole, for an unpaid loan and unpaid rent.
Ms. Vaisfeld, the defendant was a friend of yours and he became your roommate for a period of time. It is your claim that he owes you some money. He owes you some money from 3 different events. One, a loan that took place well over a year ago after the two of you were at a casino. You won, he didn't. He needed some money to help pay his bills, according to you, and you loaned him the money. Aside from one small payment that you allege, that entire amount of money has never been paid. The second part of your lawsuit deals with 2 pieces of rent money. One where he came up short in rent for 1 month just prior to him moving out, and the entire month of March where he didn't pay rent. So far, is that where we're at?
That's correct.
Great. How long have you known Mr. Cole?
Since the beginning of 2013.
Are you asking me a question? I asked you.
No, I'm asking myself the question. Yeah, 2013.
How did you meet him?
We met through some friends at a party, and we just kept being friends, mutual friends.
When did you invite him to move in to live with you?
Well, my roommate moved out in end of 2013. He didn't like where he was staying, so I wanted him to pick up half of the rent.
Is that right so far?
Yes.
I'm getting a not good feeling here.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You sort of dealt with her like you deal with the IRS. It's an all-cash business, so I don't have to pay taxes. Well, I really wasn't living there, even though my stuff was there. You know, there comes a time, Mr. Cole, when you have to grow up.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Diana Vaisfeld says her ex-roommate, Austin Cole, moved out owing for rent and a loan.
Okay. And how much was your half of the rent?
$825.
Where are you living now?
I live with friends.
Which friends?
Mark and Leanne.
How long have you been living with them?
A little over a month now, ever since I moved out of the apartment.
What kind of work do they do?
Plumbing.
And what kind of work do you do?
Marketing.
Did you file tax returns last year?
No, Your Honor.
How do you support yourself?
My business basically is cash business.
You know, I'm getting an uncomfortable feeling about this case. really uncomfortable. This alleged loan that you made to him well over a year ago, do you have any documentation?
I have where I got the money.
You got the money from a bank. Did you write him a check?
Well, no,
Just a second. Did you write him a check?
No, I didn't, because I got the money in cash.
And you gave it to him in cash. Miss Vacefield, I asked you if you had any documentation of the loan by way of a note, a writing, an email, a text message acknowledging the loan.
Yes.
What do you have?
I have an email acknowledging.
What date is the email?
It is October 8, 2014.
I'd like to see it. Okay, Mr. Cole, do you remember sending the plaintiff an email that says, hey, I gotta wait, G-O-T-T-A, wait for some payments to hit Monday. I'll try to pay you down on the grand.
No, Your Honor.
Well, why don't you take a look at that?
You know, Your Honor, I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure. This is not for me.
Who's it from? If I were to go back on my little iPad and type in that email address, would it come up as yours?
The email address would come up as mine, Your Honor, yes.
Great. Okay, great. Now let's deal with the rent. Did you pay her rent in February of 2015?
I paid a partial rent there, Your Honor.
How much?
$400.
Are you sure?
Yes.
It was 400?
Yes.
Okay, she says it was 5.
It was only 400.
Fine. So you owe her $425 for February. Your things were there in February, were they not?
Yes, they were, Your Honor.
And what about in March? Did you pay rent in March?
I did not pay rent in March.
Were you there in March?
No, I was not there in March.
Were your things there in March?
My things were there in March.
Where were you sleeping in March?
I was taking care of my mother in March.
Full-time?
Full-time.
Okay. Did you ever give her notice that you were leaving?
We had kind of discussed in February that I was going to be moving out, so that's kind of where that was left at. But I ended up getting my things out, Your Honor, in April 6th. Everything was out.
Anything else you want to tell me?
I don't owe her the money.
Sure you do.
No, this was a gift.
No, black, white, no, that's not what you say. Here, listen to me carefully. That's not what you say here. Even I, and some of your language leaves a great deal to be desired. Perhaps if you had paid more attention in school, could understand, hey, gotta, G-O-T-T-A, wait for some payments to hit Monday, and I try to pay you down on the grand. Sounds like something out of a Damon Runyon movie. But even I understand that.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. You say you don't know how much, but more than $40, hopefully. So that indicates to me that you acknowledge that you owed her the money. With regard to your rent, Mr. Cole, it's unfortunate that you had to take care of your mother. If you had asked her to be relieved of the responsibility of your things so that she could start looking for another roommate, that would be terrific. But you left your stuff there, and you sort of, you know, dealt with her like you deal with the IRS. It's an all-cash business, so I don't have to pay taxes. Well, I really wasn't living there, even though my stuff was there. You know, there comes a time, Mr. Cole, when you have to grow up. How old are you?
31, Your Honor.
31 is enough time to grow up. $2,200 judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I called him up and asked him if he wanted to buy the car.
Why were you selling it? Forget about her hustle. I'm talking now about your hustle.
Well, I wasn't going to pay anything for it because it was junk.
Judge Judy.
She made a fair decision.
She made the right decision.
People owe money, people get upset.
A good lesson not to mix money and friends.
Hopefully we can work things out.
It sucks, but that's life.
Can I call them cattle? You know, I'm a city slicker.
Ranchers add up their losses.
Did you see any dogs attacking your cows?
Yes, ma'am. I had 4 died and 4 more or less injured.
So you lost goats?
Yes, ma'am.
12 of them.
And they'll bet the farm they know the dog owner.
I'm telling you, it's coyotes that are doing the damage to their livestock, not my dogs.
How do you know they were his dogs?
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheinlein. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy. Stacy Leonard, William Carey Bryans, and his cousin Warren Bryans are placed livestock allegedly killed by Clark's dogs.
Order. All rise. This is case number 119 on the count in the matter Bryans, Leonard versus Ellard.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat.
Who's going to speak for you?
Carrie.
Carrie. Yes, ma'am.
What is your last name?
Bryans.
Mr. Bryans, you are farmers and ranchers.
Yes, ma'am.
The three of you. You each have different properties.
Yes, ma'am.
And the defendant also has a property, and you're all within a relatively close proximity. So far, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
1 mile, if that's close proximity.
Well, that's a relatively close proximity, considering that this is wide open spaces. Now, it is your claim that Mr. Ellard's dogs are allowed to roam free and have been killing your livestock. The problem in this case, as I see it, is your proof that his dogs caused the death of your livestock. So that's what we're going to hear today.
Yeah.
You have no objection to that, do you?
No, ma'am.
Because you don't deny that if, in fact, your dogs are responsible for the death of the livestock, then they suffered financial injury cumulatively in excess of my limit. The problem is you deny that it was your dogs.
That is correct.
Fine. Then all we have to do is prove, did the dogs do it? This take place, Mr. Bryans.
It started around December and went on through January of this year.
How long, Mr. Ellard, have you lived on your property?
Since 1999.
And you, sir?
All my life.
And you, sir?
All my life.
5 years.
Okay, so you've been there for a long time.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is a relatively new problem.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Ellard, would you go over to that map and show me where your property is, please?
Yes, ma'am. It is Williams Road. And this is my property.
The whole property?
Right here.
Clark's property?
Approximately 50 acres.
And show me Mr. Bryans' property?
Well, Mr. Bryans owns property on this side of me. There's a residence here that belongs to another individual. And Mr. Bryans owns property here and here.
And where is the Leonard property?
The Leonard property would be to the north of the Bryans property. And according to Google Maps, that is 0.97 mile from property to property.
Okay, step back, sir. Mr. Ellard, what kind of dogs do you have?
I have Huskies and German Shepherd.
In the past 2 years, have you had more than those two dogs?
No, ma'am.
Do you have 3 dogs altogether?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
And are your dogs in a fenced enclosure? But they are now?
Yes, that is correct.
How old are the Huskies?
The Huskies are approximately 2 years old.
When did you get them, Mr. Ellard?
Okay, I bought the female in August 2 years ago.
August of 2013?
That would be correct, yes, ma'am.
How old was the female?
She was just a small puppy.
And the other Husky?
The other Husky was acquired in November, and he was 1 year old at the time.
November of
2013, yes, ma'am.
And the German Shepherd?
The German Shepherd was acquired in July of 13, and she was also acquired as a 6-week-old puppy.
Okay, so these dogs were acquired in late 2013.
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
Okay, and your problem started in December
Yes,
of
ma'am.
2014 and lasted for a period of approximately 8 weeks.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now, how many animals did you lose, Mr. Bryant?
I had 4 died and 4 more or less injured. They tore the ears off and the mouth off and legs. And
what kind of animals?
It was Jersey steers and Holsteins, either Holstein bulls. And I got pictures of those and 3 of the injured ones right here.
I'd like to see. Sure.
That first copy.
Mr. Leonard?
That's the ones injured. Both of those 2 there lived. But I had 4 total killed.
You, sir?
I had one dairy dry cow that was killed. They didn't kill her on the scene there. They attacked her and ran her so till she was just stretched out when we found her with the dogs there. They hadn't chewed her up then, but she just
Did
never
you see that, sir?
My cousin saw it.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Mr. Bryans?
Yes, ma'am.
When did you witness that?
That was January the 4th.
Okay, so the injury and mauling of your cattle, can I call them cattle? You know, I'm a city slicker.
Yes.
They're all cows.
Yes, ma'am.
Happened before January 4th?
Well, the last case was January 4th. His was the last one that died.
His was the last one?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you see any dogs attacking your cows?
Yes, ma'am.
When was that?
January the 4th. They was, I mean, just period of time, they was attacking them, and I couldn't find dogs prior to that one time. So what I did, donkeys, keep dogs off. They're good to run with cows to keep them off. And
donkeys?
Donkeys, yes, ma'am. So I did Sunday morning. I put 2 in his pasture, which adjoins my pasture. And when I opened the gate to put the 2 donkeys in his pasture, all his cows was packed up in the corner. And I heard a cow hollering, just suffering. So I opened the gate to let the donkey, and there she was right there. And 2 of his dogs had her down, attacking her.
How do you know they were his dogs?
Well, my son had pictures of the dogs.
Who took pictures of the dogs?
Right.
Stand up. Were you with your father?
No, ma'am.
When you say you took pictures of the dogs, when did you take pictures of the dogs?
Later on that day.
Where did you take the pictures?
At Mr. Ellard's house.
But you saw the dogs?
Yes, ma'am. They had the cow down, right.
Okay. And did you describe the dogs to your son?
No, ma'am.
What prompted you to go to his house?
That day, I put 2 more donkeys in my pasture, the same day, right after I dumped the 2 donkeys in his pasture, after I saw the cow down. So then, about 15 minutes later, I got my 4-wheeler and checked my cows after I dumped the donkeys out. And after that, he come running out. Other witness there, he come running out. He come running out and waving his hands up in there, come here. He come out and said that...
Don't tell me. What did you see,
I
sir?
had stepped outside the house and I heard a hollering in the backfield. And I went out to check, and there was a pack of 4 dogs attacking the donkeys. And that's when I had shot at 2 of the dogs. And then later on that day, we followed those dogs on his property in front of his house.
Can you describe those dogs to me?
One was a German Shepherd, and one was a Husky. And one of his Huskies was shot week before by my dad. And it was on my property.
Your Honor, none of my dogs have been shot. This is
And that was on January 4th?
Yes, ma'am.
How are you related to these people?
That's my mother.
And you 2 are brothers?
Cousins.
Are you related to each other?
Cousins.
Cousins?
Yes, ma'am.
I believe they're all related, ma'am. I'm not certain about that.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
First time I met him is when I saw his dogs getting attacked.
These 2 are cousins, and you're not related to any of them. Is that right?
No, we just actually met because of all this.
And you are his son.
Yes, ma'am.
And you are...
My son.
So they don't know each other. So you took photographs of the dogs?
Yes, ma'am.
Of the dogs? I'd like to see the photographs.
You have to give your dogs there. And he actually, these are blown up pictures, but he's actually got pictures in his phone that it might be better.
I'd like to see the ones in the phone if they're sharper.
Phone's off.
Yes, ma'am. But the dogs are in the back, and those are the pictures of my goats.
Starting at
So you lost goats?
Yes, ma'am. 12 of them.
During what period of time?
From like December 21st, and then, but it started December 21st was the first time when I heard a horrible noise, and I saw all my goats running. And my male goat, the oldest one, he is fighting off a pack of dogs.
How many dogs?
When I saw there was
in his yard.
3 of them.
Closed captioning is provided by...
Take ZQL and sleep like you haven't seen your bed in days. No, like you haven't seen a bed in weeks. ZQL, the non-habit-forming sleep aid that helps you sleep easily and wake refreshed. Because sleep is a beautiful thing.
I'm feeling lucky. Today is the day. I knew it!
Activate strobe.
No way! 3 rye chips and a breadstick.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Stacy Leonard, William Carey Bryans, and his cousin Warren Bryans say neighbor Clark Ellard owes for the cost to replace livestock allegedly killed by Clark's dogs. Clark is countersuing for property damage, harassment, and slander.
Now, since you have been living there, which is 16 years, we have 3 dogs that are relatively new to your home, right?
That's correct.
2013, they were puppies. In late 2013, got to be bigger dogs, and now we don't have a problem because now they're fenced. Can I see the photographs, please?
Your Honor.
Going to get to you? Okay. What do I do here? Because I can see nothing.
Those are the 2 dogs in question. That's on his property, according to them.
On his property?
On his property.
Okay. And when you saw these 2 dogs that your son photographed,
yes,
sir, did you identify those dogs?
Yes, ma'am.
And where had you seen those dogs before?
The only time I saw him when they had his cow down that January the 4th when they put the donkeys out. And then after that, I went called the sheriff that same day and met him at his gate. And we went in my cousin's property, which joins him, and looked over the fence there, and all the dogs, my son and Mr. Leonard said, there goes that German Shepherd. They started pointing them out because they had seen the dogs killed. So.
But you saw them?
Yes, ma'am. I saw
and
those
these
2.
were the dogs?
Yes, ma'am.
And you?
Exactly right.
Okay. Anything else you want to tell me?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, it started off, I checked my cows with the 4-wheeler, like in January, and I had a bull. The first one that started, the bull side of the creek.
We no longer have an issue, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Ellard has conceded that all of you lost animals.
Yes, ma'am.
All of you lost animals to dogs. He just says they're not his dogs. And he concedes that the aggregate value of your losses is $5,000. We have that as a concession right off the bat, correct?
Sure.
Okay. Well, now, Mr. Ellard, I have some very strong both circumstantial proof and eyewitness proof that your dogs were the cause of some, if not all, of the damage that was caused to the plaintiffs. We don't know about your animals, unless I missed something. No one saw the huskies attack your goats.
Yes, we saw the husky and the German Shepherd, and then the boxer. They all attacked it. Yes,
that's right.
Yes.
Okay, so now I'll hear you.
Sure. First of all, they entered my property through a locked gate. They
I don't care.
trespassed and came in and took pictures that they alleged.
These are your dogs? Hold on. Would you show him the photograph, please, Bird, in the phone and ask him if these are his 2 dogs?
Animal control came.
You're getting ahead of me, sir.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The Leonards killed 4 dogs, including a 3-month-old puppy that had this collar that they hung on my mailbox in a terroristic act.
Whose puppy?
This puppy belonged to the cousin of the local pastor at the church.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Stacy Leonard, William Carey Bryans, and Warren Bryans claim neighbor Clark Ellard is the owner of 2 dogs that killed their livestock. Clark says coyotes are to blame.
Now, would you look at those 2 dogs and tell me if those are your 2 dogs?
This is my dog. This is not my dog.
Which is not his dog?
The boxer mix.
The boxer mix is not your dog. The other one is your dog.
That is correct.
But the boxer mix is with your dog. And her goats were attacked by your dogs. In addition to the boxer mix that you say is not your dog, but a stray that is on your property and clearly palling around with one of your dogs, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
I was called and the sheriff. No citations were ever made. The sheriff did not make any charges. Animal control did not make any charges. On January the 13th, in our county, approximately 2 miles away, coyotes killed a police canine while his handler was training him.
What?
Coyotes killed.
What does that have to do with anything?
I'm telling you, it's coyotes that are doing the damage to the livestock, not my dogs.
Just shh. What else?
Another report from Georgia. Coyotes killed.
Coyotes kill animals.
We have a huge coyote problem in our area.
I have country property. I know all about coyotes. That's not what they say. They say these are not coyotes. And Mr. Bryan has identified your dog. Miss Leonard has identified your dog in addition to a dog that was on your property with your dog. And Mr. Ellard, let me tell you this. There were no problems existing between any of you people who have animals, who keep animals on their property, until the 3 dogs that you got in late 2013 became adults. Now, I don't know how the pack gets to be a pack. I'm not that smart. But circumstantially, if you fenced your dogs in January and the attack stopped, and you have eyewitness identification, strong evidence that it's not coyotes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, there could be coyotes 1 town over, 1 county over, right around the corner. Coyotes kill livestock. I'm waiting to hear your story.
They killed 4 dogs. The Leonards killed 4 dogs, including a 3-month-old puppy that had this collar that they hung on my mailbox in a terroristic act of threat to me.
What else?
They killed a 3-month-old puppy because they said...
Whose puppy?
Ma'am. This puppy belonged to the cousin of the local pastor at the church.
That's not, actually, that's not before me, Mr. Ellard.
They killed 4 dogs, and the attack stopped. All 3 of my dogs are alive and well.
And fenced.
In my house.
And fenced.
That is correct.
Now, as of mid-January, judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. Your counterclaim is dismissed, sir. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
A mom defends her young son, but the neighbors are sticking up for their dog.
That's when he bit his leg. We did not open that gate.
Judge Judy.
I really think she did a good job. She saw through him and he was lying.
Animal control didn't get involved because there was no case.
Every statement he made, and she did a good job, and she saw through him.
I think coyotes killed him. Coyote killed a trained police dog 1 mile away the following week.
Because he's an outlaw to start with. I had dealings with him in the past.
Absolutely. Flying drones over my property.
And that's how he made his living, ripping people off, taking advantage of them.
Trespassing, breaking into my property. Next time they're going to jail.
I don't think it's possible with him, because he's a compulsive liar.
For them to die and go to hell.
A person you just can't deal with.
That's the way I see it.
A tenant confesses.
You had a financial crisis.
I lost my job.
I think he was actually very nice to you, because you didn't pay rent for months and he didn't move to evict you.
But for this landlord,
that's not the truth, Your Honor.
It's not enough.
So far, the defendant has acknowledged that she owes you for rent. Do you want to dispute that?
I do, Your Honor.
What is your problem?
Judge Judy are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheinlin. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy. Timothy Wood is suing his former tenant, Michelle Busby, for rent, storage fees, and property damage.
Order. All rise. This is case number 158 on the calendar, the matter of Wood versus Busby.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Mr. Wood, the defendant was your tenant since 2010 in a rental property. Is that a house or an apartment?
It's in a house.
Did she have a lease originally in 2010?
She did, Your Honor.
Was that a year lease?
Originally, yes.
Did she ever sign a subsequent lease?
No, she did not.
So after the first year in 2010, she became a month-to-month tenant?
Correct.
And at no time between 2010 and when she finally departed this year, did you move to evict her? That be a fair statement? Okay. Is this the only rental property that you have?
No, it is not, Your Honor.
How many rental properties do you have?
In excess of 12.
Now, Ms. Busby, who do you live with in the house?
My 9-year-old daughter.
Have you always lived with her?
Yes, and my 20-year-old daughter.
When did your 20-year-old daughter move out?
This year. She's been in college for 4 years.
A boyfriend? Because you talk about a boyfriend?
Yes.
Because you talk about a boyfriend who helped you clean up after a pipe broke?
Yes.
Where does he live?
He lives in his own house.
Okay, does he stay over?
He has, yes.
Regularly?
Yes.
Okay, well, perfect. I'm going to take care of the easy things first. You're no longer in the house. You moved.
Yes.
Mr. Wood claims that you moved owing rent. That's what you're here for.
That is correct, Your Honor.
And he also has some property that belongs to you that he put in storage.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you still have it?
I do, Your Honor.
And it's in storage.
That is correct.
Where is the storage?
It's located at my parents' residence.
In a garage, in a basement?
Storage buildings, Your Honor.
Okay. And you moved all of the furniture that was left into that storage unit?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay. And you want all that property back?
Yes.
When did you move out?
I moved out April 10th.
Where are you living now?
In an apartment.
Same size apartment or smaller?
It's smaller.
Smaller. But your 20-year-old daughter is away at college. You don't need such space as you did before.
Correct.
Right? Okay. Was the house that you were renting a 3-bedroom house?
It was.
And now what do you have?
A 2-bedroom.
Sounds reasonable. Downsizing, child off to college. She can share a room with her sister when she comes home to visit. Yes. Perfect. All sounds right. Do you need this furniture and stuff? Do you want it?
Now, because I had to
Otherwise, I'm dismissing your counterclaim.
Yes, I want it.
Fine. You have to make arrangements to go and pick it up. Tell where it's located. We'll find the date.
Oh,
fine?
That's perfectly acceptable.
Very good. You have 5 days from today's date in the company of someone else, whether it be a marshal or someone else that you can agree on, to go and pick up the property that is in storage. Got it? That takes care of your counterclaim. Now let's talk about rent.
Okay.
Great. Okay. In 2010, I assume, Miss Busby paid her rent. In 2011, she paid her rent. In 2012, she paid her rent. In 2013, she paid her rent. 2014, in December of 2014, according to you, she ran into some difficulty.
She started in mid-2013, and it continued through 2015.
By December of 2014.
Correct.
Until December 2014, she did not owe you any rent.
Correct.
So in December of 2014, Miss Busby, did something happen where you had a financial crisis?
Yes.
What was that?
I lost my job.
Okay, that's a crisis. And I assume at that point you started to fall behind in your rent.
Correct.
Let's talk about December. Did you pay rent in December?
I paid him $600.
And how much was your rent?
$1,100.
Okay, so you owed him $500.
Correct.
What about in January?
I did not pay my rent.
Rent was?
$1,100.
So now you owe him $1,600. What about in February?
February, I was late on my rent.
How much did you pay him?
I didn't pay him anything.
And you were living there?
Yes.
So, but you also owed him $1,100 for February. When did you move out?
I moved out April 10th.
Did you pay him in March?
No.
And you lived there in March?
I did.
On what date did you move out in April?
The 10th, a Friday.
Well, 10th is on a Friday. Did you pay him in April?
I did not.
So you owe him for April. Anything else you want to tell me?
That's not the truth, Your Honor. I have a income record.
Just let me explain to you so far, before you say it's not the truth. So far, the defendant has acknowledged that she owes you $4,900 for rent, during which time she lived in the home and did not pay you rent. Do you want to dispute that?
I do, Your Honor.
You're suing her for $5,000. Why do you want to dispute that?
Because as of December, on January the 20th, I got a text message from her that says, hey, I will pay the rest of December, Tuesday, just waiting for a check. January, next pay.
Mr. Wood. She's already acknowledged she owes you $4,900. You're suing her for $5,000, which is my limit.
I understand that, Your Honor.
Well,
and it's just that I was still asking for May as well. But yes, I agree.
Perfect. Anything else anybody wants to tell me?
Even though I do owe him the rent, he still owes me my security deposit.
Just a second.
Okay.
How much was your security deposit?
$1,100.
Was there any damage, Mr. Wood, when Miss Busby left the home?
Yes, Your Honor.
Other than, listen to me, other than normal wear and tear. She's been your tenant for 5 years. So in 5 years' time, there's normal wear and tear on property.
That's correct. There was damage.
Tell me what the damage was.
I sent her, and I didn't realize this was going to be part of the case, but...
well, she wants her security deposit.
It's not $1,100, Your Honor.
How much was it?
That's what I was trying to explain to you. In the course of her getting behind, she called me January the 15th. I told her at that time I would apply half of the deposit to December's rent.
Well, but you're not following, sir. She gave you $500 in December.
No, she did not, Your Honor.
Oh, how much did she give you?
In December 4th.
For December's rent.
None, Your Honor. On December the 4th, she gave me a deposit of $2,200, which applied to October of 2014 and November of 2014. It was $2,200 to cover past 2 months.
What you're telling me is she did not pay. Show me that you paid him $500 in December. All I need is check, receipt.
I don't have the check. What I have is his own, I guess, his past due notice to me that shows what I owe for December. And so if I had owed $1,100, he would have put $1,100 here.
May I see it, please?
Yes.
Sir, you indicated that past due for December was $550.
That is correct. At the time, I took half of the $1,100 deposit, applied $550 to half of December's rent. So therefore,
okay, so she didn't give you the $550.
That's correct.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Well, then just a second. All you have to do is prove. Just a second. I asked you for the proof that you gave him $500. Shh. I asked you for the proof that you gave him $500 in cash.
I didn't give it to him in cash. I deposited it into his bank account.
Just show me your bank statement that you transferred $500 into his bank.
I don't have it, but
well, then
he
does.
does.
That would be a problem.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I know this is a lengthy photograph process, Your Honor, but
I don't look at lengthy photograph process, sir. You're supposed to come with evidence.
I do, and I have it all right here, Your Honor.
Then make sure I'm not going to look at anything that shows schmutz.
And later today,
the $3,000 was strictly for you.
No, it was for my bills.
Yeah, the $3,000 was strictly for you. And I want you to tell me how it came about that you had a discussion with her about the $3,000.
She knew that my work...
No, don't tell me what she knew.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Timothy Wood says his former tenant, Michelle Busby, owes for rent, storage fees, and property damage. Michelle is countersuing for the return of her security deposit, return of property, and trespassing.
Now, you're absolutely right, sir. So that's $550 more.
Correct, Your Honor.
However, she had a security deposit of $1,100.
Half of which I used.
So that's, but you didn't use the other half.
I did not, Your Honor.
Okay, so let me see the damage that's worth $550 because she wants the rest of her security back, which would be $500. Right now, she owes you $4,900. And from that, I'm going to deduct her security deposit, but I don't know whether to deduct $1,100 or $550. Right now, I understand that you used part of that for December's rent, and you want to apply the other $550 towards damages that you allege she did to the house while she was there.
And that's correct. This is a copy of a letter that I sent her.
I don't want to see a letter. I want to see photographs, sir. I don't want to see a letter.
Okay.
I want to see a photograph of what you allege damages that are not normal wear and tear. First of all, I think he was actually very nice to you because you didn't pay rent for months and he didn't move to evict you. Is that right?
He had been. I don't think he was going to move to evict me. As long as I wouldn't have moved out, he would have allowed me to stay there.
Just a second.
Yes.
What I'm telling you was he would sound to me as if he was very nice to you.
And I know this is a lengthy photograph process, Your Honor, but...
I don't look at lengthy photograph process, sir. You're supposed to come with evidence.
I do, and I have it all right here, Your Honor, but...
Then I want you to make sure I'm not going to look at anything that shows schmutz or a wall that needs repainting.
Here's one picture, Your Honor. It's a hole in the wall.
What else?
Okay. There was the trash on the outside. The grass had to be mowed. The new interior or the new exterior door locks had to replace because she did not return me my keys. There was an exterior light that was damaged on the front of the house that's broken. The walls, because she had a cat in the house, which is a violation of the lease. The cat hair was extensive, and we had to go in and literally brush down because the cat hair was sticking to the walls, to the doors, and the trim shampooed. One of the other issues which really triggered this was there was a thermostat on the wall that was a working and functioning thermostat. Charlie came in and took the perfectly good thermostat off the wall and replaced it with a broken thermostat.
Mr. Wood, I'm finished being interested in what she owes. Absolutely finished being interested. She owed you $4,900 for unpaid rent. I am deducting from that the full $1,100 for your security deposit. You owe Mr. Wood $3,800. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all.
Why is that excused? You may step out.
He didn't follow the lease. He picked and chose when he wanted to follow it.
She lied about the rent. She lied about what she paid. And she lied about everything.
He did some inappropriate inappropriate things. He talked about orgies.
I have no idea. She's obviously crazy.
Don't rent from him.
I've gotten to a point now where I can't believe anything and don't give nobody an inch because they'll take a mile.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Waite versus Ray. Step forward.
Linda Waite is suing her ex-boyfriend, Thomas Ray, for a series of personal loans and an assault.
Ms. Waite, the defendant was an ex-boyfriend of yours, who you, according to what I gather, moved in with him.
No, I did not move in with him.
You began staying with him?
No.
Never? You never stayed at his house?
I spent the night there.
How often?
Maybe once or twice a week.
So, then where were you staying?
Originally, I was staying with my oldest daughter, and then I got an apartment in February 1st. I moved into my apartment.
Okay. So at the time that you and Mr. Ray were together, for a brief period of time at least, you were still married?
Yes.
Are you still married?
Yes.
Okay, who is this?
This is my husband.
Okay, are you together?
I still live in my apartment. He lives in the house. We're not together.
So the answer is you're not together?
No.
Okay. And tell me, in what month and year did you start to stay with Mr. Ray a couple of times a week?
I believe it was in January.
January of this year?
2015, yes.
And when had you met him?
I met him when I was 13.
So you've known him for a long time?
Not, known him, but I knew of him. I mean, we'd lost connection for several years.
When did you reconnect?
November of 2014.
And when did you and your husband separate?
It was January 3rd.
Of 2015?
That I moved out of the home.
And that's about the same time you started to stay with Mr. Ray?
Correct.
Is that correct, sir?
Yes, it is. She normally stayed with me from Thursday night till she went to work on Monday morning.
For the weekend?
Yes.
Do you work on Friday?
Yes.
Then why would she stay with you on Friday?
On Friday, yes.
So she came to your house after work on Thursday? On
normally,
Thursdays.
Yes.
When you say normally, this started in January. How long did that last, Mr. Ray?
It lasted about 3 months.
So would you say that she spent 3 weekends a month at your house?
Yes, ma'am.
So let's say 3 days times 3 weeks is 9. 9 days times 3 is 27. 27 days that she stayed at your house.
Yes, ma'am.
3 months. Would that be a fair statement? This is what the case is about. You claim a series of loans to Mr. Ray, who told you that his girlfriend had moved out of the house. He was kind of short on bills. Your girlfriend moved out of the house when, Mr. Ray?
In January of 2015.
And she started to come in January.
Yes.
How fortunate of you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She knew that I was getting
Don't
behind.
tell me what she knew.
Getting behind on my bills. We talked about it. She was going to loan me the money or give me the money.
Right.
And that's when I...
That's when I what?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Linda Waite says ex-boyfriend Thomas Ray owes for several unpaid loans.
Expenses.
She has money coming in.
Is this the girlfriend?
Yes.
So you're back together?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. She has money coming in from what?
She's on SSI.
For what?
Her husband was killed, and she gets money for his death.
So she gets money every month that she gives to you because she lives there?
She helps me pay the bills, yes.
Okay. And she moved out in January. Why?
We was having some problems at the end of last year, and then we got into it, and then that's when me and Mrs. Waite, we started talking, and we just started seeing each other, and that's when she started staying with me.
Well, she was staying with you a few days,
yes,
a couple of days a week. She had her own place.
At that time, she was staying with her daughter when she very first moved out.
Right. And then she found an apartment.
Yes.
Right. In what month did she find an apartment?
I think it was either January or February is when she got her.
Which was it, Miss Waite, January or February?
I actually moved in January 31st of 2015.
So she found an apartment on her own?
Yes.
And she's a working lady?
Yes.
Yes. So she's paying rent in her house?
Yes.
So she doesn't have to pay rent in your house, too, because I looked at your answer. She gave you a lot of money, sir. Your answer was that she gave you the money because she was living with you and paying the bills. But she had her own.
When she was staying with me.
She stayed with you 27 days, sir. How much money did she give you?
She gave me one check for rent.
How much?
$850.
What else?
And then she gave me another check to help me catch up the bills.
How much?
$3,000.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Now I want you to tell me about first let's start with the $850. When did she give you the $850?
That was in January.
So right away.
Yeah.
So you really needed somebody to help take care of you because the girlfriend moved out. The federal government was taking care of her. So without her, you couldn't meet your rent?
No, work was slow. I'm a truck driver and work slow in the winter.
Well, how fortunate for you to have found somebody to move right in. Now, so you needed January's rent, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But she was only there at most maybe 9 days in January, so she wasn't paying rent for herself because she was getting ready to move into her own space. Now, what about February? When was the $3,000? What month?
I'm thinking it was the end of February.
End of February?
Yes.
Had you paid February's rent?
No.
You have a car?
Yes, ma'am.
You have a payment on the car?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you make your car payment?
I was getting behind on my car payment.
So the $3,000 was strictly for you?
No, it was for my bills.
Pay your bills?
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by.
Live at 5 is Straight Ahead. Deflategate, deflated by a federal judge. When Tom Brady is expected to return, the next step the NFL is taking, plus reaction from a lot of you.
It's not safe. There's no bike lane, there's no breakdown lane, there's nothing, and it's scary.
This parent is upset with the new school bus routes in Portland. Next, the reason for the change and why school officials insist the children are safe.
Heat, humidity, showers, and thunderstorms. It's moving out. We're tracking cooler and less humid air moving in. We'll look at the timing coming up in a few minutes.
Want justice? Go to JudgeJudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
I want you to tell me how it came about that you had a discussion with her about the $3,000.
She knew that my work...
No, don't tell me what she knew.
My work was slow.
Don't tell me what she knew. I said to her, she said to me, this is where it happened. We're sitting in the kitchen, we're lying in bed, we were out for a walk. Tell me where it happened. The conversation about the $3,000.
I think we were sitting in my living room.
And?
She knew that I was getting
Don't tell me what she knew.
Getting behind on my bills. We talked about it. She was going to loan me the money. That's when I She got the money and gave it to me. And
judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $38.50. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
A neighbor is blamed for his wounds, but is another mishap the real cause.
I was in a car accident.
What did you sue for?
Back injury.
Now we know why you're here.
Next Judge Judy.
Very happy.
She offered the money to me.
He was just pretty much a crybaby.
I never asked for it.
My money is my money from now on.
I don't want no what they call donations she give me because nobody gives me nothing.
Usually a nice dog. This time it wasn't a nice dog.
A mom defends her young son.
I grabbed the scooter from him and just tried to block the dog from getting to him.
But the neighbors.
The oldest daughter came out, grabbed the scooter.
From you?
Yes.
Are sticking up for their dog.
That's when he bit his leg. We're not responsible because we did not open that gate. The children opened the gate.
Who saw that? Who saw that?
Judge Judy. You are about to. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy. 24-year-old Jeanette Johnson is suing her neighbor, Nicole Baumgartner, for damages resulting from a dog attack on her 5-year-old son.
Order. All rise. It's case number 125 on the calendar, the matter Johnson versus Baumgartner.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Ms. Johnson, it's your claim that the defendant's dog bit your son, I assume this little boy.
Yes.
Here. He had stitches, and you want her to be responsible not only for his medical bills, but for his pain and suffering.
Correct.
Ms. Baumgartner said that the incident was your fault and the fault of your children who were unsupervised. She has a counterclaim, which is ludicrous, for money because her dog was quarantined for a period of time and she had to pay $275 to get the dog out. I say it's ludicrous, and I'm going to explain why in a minute, but it is ludicrous. Okay. I gather that you're neighbors.
Right.
How long have you lived there?
A little over a year, maybe a year.
And you, Miss Baumgartner?
About a year and a half.
So you both moved in at about the same time. Do you have dogs, Miss Johnson?
No, I don't.
I do.
You have a Boxer and a Maltese?
Correct.
How old are they?
Tootsie is a year and 3 months old.
And which one is Tootsie?
Tootsie is the Boxer. Mila is the Maltese, and she is 4 years old.
Did you get both as puppies?
Yes.
Now, tell me the date of this incident.
May 11th, 2015.
What time?
About 7 o'clock, 7 p.m.
Tell me what you were doing.
We were walking in the neighborhood. I was 8 months pregnant, so I was doing a lot of exercising at the time. So we were just walking around the block.
You and your 3 children?
Right.
But the other 2 children, you said, were on bicycles.
Yeah. So
they weren't walking.
Right. Actually, the older 2 were on bikes. He had a scooter, but he was walking with the scooter.
With you?
Right.
So the older ones were on bikes. They weren't right around you.
Yeah, they were right around me because we were close to home. So they were getting off of their bikes, getting ready to walk.
So you were on your way back from your walk.
Right.
So they were walking their bikes home.
Right.
Tell me what happened.
Okay, so when we approached her house, that's when we noticed that the dogs were out. As soon as
when
my
you
older
say
2,
out, what do you mean out?
Well, when I noticed them, they were just in the yard rushing towards me.
In the yard?
Mm-hmm, yes.
And her yard is fenced?
The backyard is fenced.
Were they in the backyard or the front yard?
No, the front yard.
So they were out of the backyard?
Right.
Okay. And where were your 3 children?
Right next to me, maybe a foot away from me.
When you went on your walk in another direction...
We went in the opposite direction.
And came around?
Came around. Mm-hmm.
So you did a circle?
Right.
Okay. So the first time you saw her 2 dogs, they were on the front lawn?
Right.
And what happened?
Okay, so as soon as we noticed them, they just come rushing toward us. My 2 oldest sons, they got on their bikes, ran home. I was left with Joe, my youngest. He had a scooter. I grabbed the scooter from him and just tried to block the dog from getting to him.
You mean the Boxer?
Yeah, the Boxer. The smaller dog was rushing, but I wasn't really worried too much about the smaller one. So I grabbed the scooter, just started trying to block the dog from getting him. The oldest daughter came out, grabbed the scooter.
From you?
Yes. I was still holding it, but she had the end of the scooter. So when she grabbed the scooter...
She had the end of the scooter, you mean the wheel?
The wheels. The wheel part. Mm-hmm.
The wheel part, you had the handle?
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so when she grabbed the handle...
You're the older daughter? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so she grabbed the wheels of the scooter. When that happened, the dog was able to get around me and get to Joe, and that's when he bit his leg.
Okay, do you have the pictures of the injuries and the medical bills, please?
Yes, I do.
So the wound developed an infection at the stitch site.
Right.
Is that what happened? Do you have any insurance?
No.
Are you employed?
I am employed.
And your husband?
He's employed. The insurance usually goes through their dad, which his dad lost his job.
So this gentleman is not his father?
No, that's the boyfriend. We all live together.
Okay, I'll hear you.
Okay, so when I arrived home on May 11th, I parked in my driveway. I went inside my home, put my dogs on their leash, and walked them to the backyard and closed the fence. As I was walking back around to the front of my home, I noticed the plaintiff and the smallest child in the street with a scooter, and the other 2 children with bikes running away from the other side of my home, where there is also an opening in the gate that we do not use. The dogs did come out that side of the gate and were barking at everyone in the yard at this point. I ran over to the dogs, as did my daughters, and we were trying to get the dogs away and put them back in the home. And the plaintiff used the scooter as a bat at my largest dog to try to get her to go away.
So the dog was close enough to her so that she could hit the dog with the scooter?
Correct.
Well, that's too close.
So, however, they were still on my property. My dogs were on my property.
Doesn't matter.
So she batted with the scooter at my dog. My daughter came over to take the scooter away, but in the meantime, as my dog was lunging at the scooter, the mayhem.
Oh, then you're responsible.
We're not responsible because we did not open that gate. The children from the other side of the house that were running from away from the fence opened the gate.
Oh, who saw that? Who saw that?
When I drove home...
Just a minute. My question is, who saw that?
No one saw them open.
Right. Nobody saw that. And I read your answer very carefully, Miss Baumgarten. And what you said was, historically, the children had opened up the gate and let the dogs out and trespassed on your property.
They have repeatedly...
That's what you said.
Trespassed to get the balls that they throw at my dogs.
That's what you say.
Yes.
And I say to you, if you know that that's happening, get a better lock. because what happened is somehow your dogs got out. You don't know how your dogs got out. They don't know how your dogs got out, but your dogs got out. And if your boxer, which weighs more than he does, was close enough to him so that she could hit the dog with a scooter, the dog was too close, and she has medical bills that exceed my limit. Now, your counterclaim, which is ridiculous, is because the law requires that when an animal bites, he has to be quarantined. That means you have to take care of a dog who has the capacity to hurt a 5-year-old. That's it. You have a big dog, usually a nice dog. This time it wasn't a nice. It's between somebody who was without blame and somebody who has the responsibility to control their animals. You didn't do what was necessary to control your animals. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. Your counterclaim's dismissed. Thank you very much.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The whole event was traumatizing. However, had her children been supervised and properly parented,
my kids are terrified. And whenever the dogs are out or they see the dogs, they come in and they don't go back outside.
We wouldn't be here today.
The dog came out and bit me on the leg.
We're just ready to be done with it.
Just control your animals.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Sneed versus Dvorak. Step forward.
Deborah Sneed is suing her ex-daughter-in-law, Hannah Dvorak, for the unpaid balance on a car loan in her name and storage fees.
Miss Sneed, is this your son?
No, this is my fiance.
Where's your son?
He's not here.
Why not?
He has nothing to do with the case.
He does have to do with this case. He has to do with this case because this is your former daughter-in-law, and while she and your son were married, according to you, you made a loan to her.
Correct.
To buy a car.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's a loan made to the marriage. So I'm wondering why instead of bringing your fiance, who has nothing to do with this case, you didn't bring your son, who has everything to do with it. Out as a family with their 3 children. They went to the doctor. They got picked up from school. They went grocery shopping.
Well, you'd have to ask her because they live together.
No, you have to ask Daniel.
And later today,
I don't care if they call me 5'10" and 36 years old. They can call me that all they like. I'll smile and say thank you, but that's not what I am.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Deborah Sneed says her former daughter-in-law, Hannah Dvorak, is responsible for the balance on a car loan in her name and storage fees. Hannah says Deborah's son is also responsible.
Go ahead.
Well, the reason being he didn't come is because when this was all settled and done, Hannah decided she wanted the car. She was taking it to Worcester, Missouri, and she wanted to pay for the car. It was not his car.
It was his car because it's marital property. You can sit down now. It's marital property. You have a copy of the judgment of divorce, anybody?
I do, yes.
I'd like to take a look at it. Anyway, what happened was, according to you, you made a loan to her, or you co-signed to buy a car while they were married. And how many children do you have?
3.
3 children. How much child support does he pay?
He's court-ordered to pay as of September 1st, 2014. It's oddball numbers every so often. It's not he doesn't pay on schedule.
Anyway, they were divorced in June of 2014. According to this, in February of 2014, 5 months before the divorce was finalized, the car stopped working. Is that right?
It broke down in October of 2013. I took it to the mechanic in February, and I had to get another vehicle. I couldn't pay for a motor at the time, and, so I think I probably stopped making payments to the car in February of 2014 because I couldn't afford to pay for a car that did not run.
Well, did you tell her?
Yes.
When did you tell her?
Different occasions.
I believe I was told July 10th.
Of what year?
This year. It's on my phone.
I'd like to see it. Just a second. Where was the property that you divided pursuant to this?
We actually don't. When I took the car in May 2013 with my children to Missouri, we didn't have any property as of that. It was just a vehicle. And yes,
How many? Just a second. How many cars did you have, you and your husband?
Just that one. Just that one.
And he did not have a car?
Oh, no.
So that was the family car?
Yes.
When you were together?
For the children.
When was it purchased?
The date that I signed for the loan was 10/14/11 or 10/19/11. Hannah signed
You go find your son.
Hannah's the one that bought the car, and I have the text stating here that she bought the car and was paying for it.
Let me explain something to you. These people were married and had 3 children in 2011. She says, and I don't think that you can prove otherwise, that this was the family car. I don't care whose name it was in, and neither does the state care whose name it was in.
That wasn't a family car.
He had another car?
Daniel didn't have it.
Just a second. Did he have another vehicle?
No, he did not. But Danny didn't have a driver's license.
I don't care whether he had a driver's license or not. They went out as a family with their 3 children. They went to the doctor. They got picked up from school. They went grocery shopping.
Well, you'd have to ask her because they lived together.
No, you have to ask Daniel.
Well, they lived together off and on. I don't know how many years in my home.
Let me explain something to you, Miss Sneed. You're not getting $5,000 from her. Now, you want to sue her and Daniel. Great for you. But you're not getting $5,000 from her.
Well, then I'll take the car back, and it's sitting in storage, and she owes $800.
Just a second. Take the car back.
I can't. It's in her name. Title's in her name.
Just a second. She'll sign it over to you. Do you have a title to the car?
No.
She has the title. She'll sign it over to you, right? You got a new car. Bird,
she owes $800.
Would you do me a favor? Would you please hand her the title?
What about the $800 sitting on that car that I can't get? Because she owes it. It's set there, and I never knew it.
She's signing over the car to get Daniel to pay the $800.
Danny never lived in Worcester, Missouri.
Listen to me. I don't care.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
You didn't return her money. She had a right to call you 30 times if she wanted to. She had the right to say she's a deadbeat because she didn't pay me back my money. Because what you just described to me was a bunch of nonsense.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Deborah Sneed says her former daughter-in-law, Hannah Dvorak, is responsible for the balance on a car loan in her name and storage fees. Hannah says Deborah's son is also responsible.
Now, the fact that it's in her name, that's what the marital laws are all about in this country. If the house was in her name and he paid the mortgage and he put down the down payment on the house, would you think that even though the house is in her name, he should be entitled to half if they sell it? Look at me. Look at me. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah, but I also understand that people need to be truthful, and she's standing here, and
no. She's not saying.
Car.
Just a minute. You have your problem with me, not with her.
She asked me if I would help her work with. I wasn't worried about Danny going to work because he had his own way with his friends that he subcontracted with.
Great.
She wanted the car. I bought it for her, helped her buy it.
Great.
So now I'm stuck with her bill because you feel like Danny done it. No, he didn't. If it was, I'd be more than happy to make him pay for it.
You think he ever went in the car to go out with the family for dinner? Do you think he ever went? You ever think that he went in the car to drop the children off at school? Do you think that he ever went in the car to take one of the children for a doctor's appointment? That's what we call a family car. And in 2011, they were living as a family with their 3 children. Why doesn't he pay regular child support?
I don't know if they're living together in 2011 or not. And they are. And if I had another divorce decree and receipts from Danny, I would you can call him and ask him if he's not caught up on child support.
What do you mean?
That's
because it's court ordered. What do you mean caught up?
It's court ordered. If he's not paid at a certain date, he is in trouble. He pays through the court.
Good.
I don't know anything about their
Now you have the car. It's yours. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all. Thank you.
Bozo, excuse me, step out.
She can have it.
Just don't ever try to help your family.
I can't afford it.
She's just a liar.
It's been it's a crazy ride.
Don't ever do it again.
And now the next case.
All Asitas, step forward.
Victoria Naziri is suing her former friend, Marianne Merritt, for an unpaid loan to save her business. Marianne is countersuing for harassment.
Miss Merritt, the defendant was a friend of yours.
Yes.
And in May of last year, she turned over to you $1,000. And I would like you to tell me under what circumstances exactly what you said to her and what she said to you regarding the $1,000.
Okay, Your Honor, we were out for lunch, and we were sitting there, and we were having a conversation. I have a small business, and I was explaining to her I was having trouble with my small business, and I was concerned about financial situation in my small business. She'd been to San Francisco the day before on a shopping spree with her boyfriend.
How long have you been in the business?
A little less than a year at that time.
And it's a produce business?
Yes.
And you've known her for how long?
A couple of years.
So you told her you were having some financial difficulties?
Yeah. So anyway, we're talking along, and like she reaches her hand into her bag, pulls out a wad of $100 bills, and she said, would this help if I invested this in your business? And I looked at her and I thought, okay, I really do need that money, but I don't know if I really want to get that money from her. And her boyfriend is a friend of my ex-husband, and they're Greek, and I really didn't want any of that business to hit the streets. And I asked her, I said, I can never take that money if you're going to tell me, oh, no, this is
just a second. If she was investing in your business, that means she was going to be a partner.
Well, $1,000 wouldn't be really a partner. It was an investment.
What would it be?
An investor.
Well, I don't understand what that means. What were the terms of the investment?
We never really talked about it.
Well, then it wasn't an investment.
It wasn't an investment. She wanted to invest in my business so that it could do well. If I made a profit, I'd pay her back.
That's not an investment in your business. That's a loan with a provision.
Well, her words were investment.
I don't care if they call me 5'10" and 36 years old. They can call me that all they like. I'll smile and say thank you, but that's not what I am.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Are you the victim of a scam? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, an investment is something that you make where you expect a return of profit.
Well, that's what she asked for.
No, now you're making it up as we're going along.
No, I'm not.
Okay, so what did she ask for? Just a second. So she was making an investment. Oh, I'm going to love this. I can tell I'm going to love this. She's making an investment, and now you're going to tell me what your arrangement was with regard to how she was going to make a profit on her $1,000.
A profit on the $1,000.
What? A 500% profit, you were going to give her back $1,200, $1,500, $1,800.
No, we really didn't discuss it. It was about an investment. When I made money, I'd pay her back, and if I didn't, then I don't know what.
But that's a loan. What you've just described to me is not an investment, it's a loan. What business are you in today?
Produce.
Same business?
Same business.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000. Your counterclaim's dismissed.
No, I want you to hear it. I want you to hear it.
Just a second. You want me to hear harassment?
Yes, I do.
Listen to me. You didn't return her money. She had a right to call you 30 times if she wanted to. She had a right to tell your friend Manolo if she wanted to. She had the right to say she's a deadbeat because she didn't pay me back my money. Because what you just described to me was a bunch of nonsense. Got it? Perfect.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused and they step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Looking for quick justice after her phone is broken.
Slowly, what did you say to her?
I said, Haley, what happened to my phone? And then she immediately...
When teenagers talk fast, I have a problem with that.
Next Judge Judy.
She took it out of her purse and handed it over.
Judge Judy saw right through her.
I don't have money to give her.
She could afford a brand new, beautiful sign for...
Wants right here and now, and that's it.
The bank is closed.
I did not know the devastation of my injury.
A neighbor is blamed for his wounds.
Mr. Edwards fell as a result of being scared by your dog. Dog didn't bite him. Dog scared him. Maybe he fell. Maybe he didn't.
But is another mishap the real cause?
I was in a car accident.
What did you sue for?
Back injury.
Now we know why you're here. You know, they don't just keep me here because I'm a pretty face, sir.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheinlein. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy. Michael Edwards is suing his neighbor, Lynette Jones, for medical bills as a result of being knocked over by Lynette's dog.
Order. All rise. It's case number 135 on the calendar in the matter of Edwards versus Jones.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
Mr. Edwards, it is your claim that the defendant's dog, while out of her due to fall, injured your ankle and some other stuff. You want her to be responsible substantially. Miss Jones says, not her dog. Are you and Miss Jones neighbors?
We stay on the same street.
So you know her for how long?
I don't know her.
Never.
I've talked to her once in my life.
Once as a result of this incident?
Yes.
How long have you lived on the street?
I moved there in February of 14.
And how long have you lived there, Miss Jones?
August of 2012.
When did this incident happen with a dog?
It happened on June 14th, 2014. Your Honor, what has happened is prior to...
Just a second. June 14th of 2014, so a year ago.
Yes.
Well, where have you been all this time, sir?
Well, Your Honor, what happened was, after the incident, I went to the rental, and I didn't know Miss Jones, so I talked to the rental agent, and he told me that she was a single mother with a child in college. So I said, well, I really don't want to sue this lady for a whole lot of money. I went to her 2 weeks later. I went to her. I said, I'll make a resolution. I told her, I said, here's the deal. I was in a car accident, March 29th of 14. I have insurance. I'm a vet. My medical bills, I'm not real expenses, will occur. I tell you what I do. Let's make a resolution. For $1,500, I'll write you a letter, send it, the case is resolved. I really don't want to sue her. What she told me, she said, I have to talk to my attorney. I turned my back and I walked away. I went to my attorney, and he said, well, you can do what you have to do. So we are here. You know, what had happened is I did not know at the time the devastation of my injury.
You were devastated. Listen, Mr. Edwards, have you settled the other case where you were in a car accident?
I have.
You have? When did you settle the other case?
June the 11th of this year.
Now we know why you're here. Now we know why you're here, because your attorney said don't go into court with her on this matter until after we settle that matter or dispose of that matter, because whatever you say now can impact on your recovery, because if you start complaining that you were really injured when you fell as a result of this stray dog, the insurance company in the car case is going to say, well, that wasn't as a result of the car case. Mr. Edwards, you know, they don't just keep me here because I'm a pretty face, sir. You know what I'm talking about. You do know what I'm talking about. How much did you settle the other case for, sir? Settlement.
$7,000. I got 1/3. After the medical records, everything, I came up with $3,200.
Did they pay your medical bills?
Yes, they did.
In addition to the $3,200?
Yes, they did.
And how much were your medical bills?
My medical bills were, I have them here, I think they were close to $2,800 and some dollars.
So they paid your medical bills, and in addition to that, you got $3,200.
That is correct.
Nonsense. Yeah. The accident when you were with was when? The accident, not this. The accident, your big lawsuit that you were hoping to get a lot more money from. When was that accident?
March 29th, 2014.
Were you a driver or a passenger?
I was the driver. I was hit in the rear.
What kind of work were you doing in 2014?
I am retired, Your Honor.
When did you retire?
I retired 2001.
How old are you, sir?
I'm 66 years old, Your Honor.
So you retired very long time ago. You were a young man.
I retired at the age of 53.
From where?
Federal government.
Did you get a pension?
I do.
Did you get a pension then? Mr. Edwards, did you get a pension when you were 53 from the federal government? When you were 53?
Yes.
Did you start collecting it when you retired?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
What branch of the federal government? Collecting your pension at age 53 from the federal government?
I had 32 years.
So the answer is you could start to collect it after 32 years when you were in your early 50s.
Yes.
Okay. How much do you collect on your pension?
$42,000.
Who else works in your house?
No one. I am single.
So you're single?
Yes, I am.
And so you get a substantial pension. Have you done any other work since you're 53?
Yes, I've worked at Walmart for about 5 years.
Where else?
I got a little tired with that. I went to an engine company. I worked for about a year. They worked me 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. I couldn't take that. You know, I'm too old for that. And my last job, I worked at a liquor store, Your Honor.
Nice. Now, this incident happened on June 14th.
Yes.
2014. Had you ever seen Miss Jones's dog prior to June 14th?
I had not.
What kind of a dog do you have?
It was a lab mix.
And what I gather is you're walking and A dog came up, startled you, and you fell.
Yes.
Did you call an ambulance at the time?
I did not.
Just a second. Just answer my questions, Mr. Edwards. Did you call an ambulance?
No.
Did you see a doctor on June 14th?
Yes.
I'd like to see the doctor's report on... Sir, this is nonsense. It doesn't say what they found. It's a general statement of what happens when people have a lumbar fracture, which is, I assume, the same thing that you told them that you had when you had your car accident.
No, Your Honor. I did not tell them anything.
Oh, no, 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 no. What did you sue for? What medical condition did you sue for when you sued as a result of the car accident in March that you settled for?
Back injury.
A back injury. Well,
yes.
That's lumbar. Right. And here you say that you were startled by a dog and fell to the ground. And I'm sure it said something here about injuring your ankle.
Yes, I have photos of that.
Just a second. That has nothing to do with this, sir. They don't even mention the word ankle here. They don't even mention the word ankle in the thing that you gave me. They said a fractured lumbar. They don't even say that you complained of an ankle being injured.
Your Honor, I didn't complain.
Okay, yeah.
I have photos. I didn't complain about that.
Okay.
I was in pain when I went to the hospital.
Just a second. How did your dog get out?
Probably which he has did before, got loose from his chain.
Okay. So we've got loose.
Yes.
Listen to me. Let's be honest. You see, I'm not buying his nonsense.
Thank you.
Do you understand that?
Yes.
I'm not buying his nonsense.
Yes.
Dog didn't bite him.
No.
Dog scared him.
Yes.
Maybe he fell.
Yes.
Maybe he didn't. He knows what went on here with his old lawsuit and his lawyer. And I know.
Yes.
The question is, your dog got out. How did you get the dog back?
The dog comes back. He came back.
Okay. Do you remember that day?
I remember when the police came, yes.
And when the police came, where was your dog?
He was on his chain.
He had already come back?
Yes.
You had put him back on the
Yes.
chain? Do you remember when you put him back on the chain?
It was that morning. I got off at 4. I let him outside, so I fell asleep. So it was maybe about 7:30.
Okay.
And
so he had gotten out for a brief period of time.
Right.
And while he got out,
yes,
he scared Mr. Edwards.
Yes.
Mr. Edwards fell as a result of being scared by your dog.
Yes.
Now, we don't have to deal with the fact that it wasn't her dog. You see how good I am? Right? Because he or she said, wasn't my dog. So it was her dog that frightened you. How much do you think I'm going to award you for that?
Your Honor, I was looking for medical. What?
You have no medical. You have no medical. Your medical was covered.
Your Honor, if I may interject, that's the reason. I did not even file for the accident until August with pertaining to the car. So there was no case there.
No, I know. I got what Mr. Edwards, I got exactly what happened, sir. And I'm going to award you a whopping $100 for being scared by the defendant's dog. This case is over. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
When I walked by, the dog immediately turned around and lunged at me.
Oh, I know he was lying. And then especially when, oh my God, talking about the dog lunged at him.
I was on the ground asking for help.
The dog didn't. No.
He was attacking. He wasn't sitting.
He just wanted some money.
I was on the ground kicking.
Your back is broken. How are you kicking? Correct? Right?
I wasn't fighting. I was kicking.
The man full of it. He trying to double dip and get some money.
Keep your dog on the leash.
And it hurt my heart because Buster, that was my butter.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Curry versus Dawson. Step forward.
Linda Curry is suing her ex-boyfriend, Nehru Dawson, for an unpaid loan for attorney fees.
Miss Curry, how long was Mr. Dawson your boyfriend?
For about 9 years.
Did you live with him for the 9 years?
Off and on.
Together, how many years would you say you lived together?
Probably about 7.
From when to when?
From 2000 till about 2006. He was incarcerated.
When was he incarcerated?
He was incarcerated like in 2007 for a couple months. He moved back to Chicago and then he came back to Springfield and he got incarcerated again in 2000.
You live in Springfield?
Yes, ma'am.
When he came back to Springfield, did he live with you?
He lived at a shelter for a little bit.
Did he live with you?
Yes, he did live
How
with
long?
Me. For about
7 or 8 months.
And then he got incarcerated again?
He got incarcerated again.
While he was living in Springfield?
While he was living in Springfield.
For what?
I don't know. Some kind of warrants he had up in Chicago.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
We got into it one night, and the police were called. We were both arrested. I went to the hospital. She went to jail.
You went to the hospital for what?
She stabbed me in the hand with a pair of scissors and almost stabbed me in the heart with a steak knife.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Linda Curry says ex-boyfriend Nehru Dawson owes for a loan for attorney fees while he was in prison. Nehru claims he never asked for the
2 or 3 weeks.
And when he got out of jail, that would have been in 2007, 2008?
At the end of 2008.
Okay. At the end of that 2 or 3 weeks, where did he go?
He went back to the shelter in Springfield, Illinois.
Not to you? Didn't come to live with you?
Not for a while.
When was the last time he lived with you?
It was November of 2013.
Until when?
Till he got out of jail in 2014 of July.
So from November to July?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was the last time he lived with you?
Yes, until after he got out of jail in July. He came back. He didn't have any place to go. He asked me to help him out. I did help him out. And he never tried to pay me anything back.
Just a second. He went to jail, got out July of 2014. You're still living in Springfield.
Yes, ma'am.
And he came to Springfield and lived with you. From July until when?
Probably until September.
Of 2014?
Yes, ma'am.
What happened in September of 2014?
I realized he wasn't trying to help me out or anything. He was still the same person that when he left, a master manipulator.
You mean after almost 20 years, you're just figuring that out?
Yes. And that's the shame that it took me that long to figure that out.
All right, so this is what the case is about. According to you, you're drunk, angry, you both got arrested.
Yes, ma'am.
They released you. They didn't release him because he had active warrants where? In Chicago?
Tennessee.
In Tennessee. You get around. And according to you, he called you, I need a lawyer because I don't want to go to prison. So you retained a lawyer on his behalf and paid the lawyer $2,000. Now you want the $2,000 back. That's what the case is about.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Mr. Dawson, you got arrested in Springfield. Warrants from Tennessee fell on you. What were the warrants for?
It was something that happened back in 2001. I was released from Tennessee back in 2001, and they kicked me out the state. They told me I couldn't come back, I couldn't drive through Tennessee at all. If I did, the aggravated assault would be reinstated, and I would be put in prison for 6 to 15 years. I left the state.
You're not allowed to drive through a state? Yeah, it's an interesting. That's an interesting condition of probation. You're not allowed to drive through a state. Go Tennessee.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When you came back to Springfield, you moved in with Miss Curry for 5 months. What happened?
She felt she needed to tell me that she had an affair when I was locked up. And I felt she should have took that to the grave.
That was going on all the time.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Linda Curry says ex-boyfriend Nehru Dawson owes for a loan for attorney fees while he was in prison. Nehru claims he never asked for the money.
Keep going.
And I returned back to Chicago, stayed there a couple of weeks, didn't want to be there anymore, went back to Springfield. And stayed in Springfield for 11, 12 years, no trouble, working, doing the right thing. And as you said, we got into it one night. As you said, cocktailing, and the police were called. We were both arrested. I went to the hospital. She went to jail.
You went to the hospital for what?
She stabbed me in the hand with a pair of scissors and almost stabbed me in the heart with a steak knife. Oh. I caught the steak knife coming down with this hand, caught the scissors through my hand. All right. I get locked up, extradited back to Tennessee, and get locked back up, and stayed there for 7 months.
Well, what'd you get locked up in Tennessee for? They told you not to come back. Did you go back?
No, ma'am. This is the catch. They said I was eluding, that I wasn't reporting to community service. How can I report when you kicked me out? I couldn't report. They told me to stay away. That was in the agreement. The only thing was I couldn't find the paperwork to prove my part.
Tell me about the lawyer.
She did pay for the lawyer. I didn't ask her to. She did it because she wanted me to deny that. I wanted to come home myself. I told her, we've been living together. I don't have any money right now. If I did have it, you would have it. I appreciate what you're doing for me.
Where are you living now?
In Springfield.
What are you doing in Springfield?
Currently looking for employment.
Who is this?
This is my new woman.
Your new woman?
Yes.
Do you like her?
Very much.
Now, did you tell Miss Curry that you would pay her back for the lawyer?
I'm not going to deny and say I didn't say that.
No, I don't want you to deny something if it's not true. Did you tell Miss Curry you would pay her back for the lawyer?
When you're incarcerated, you'll say what you need to say to get done what you need done.
So you told Miss Curry you would pay her back if
Maybe
she got
I did,
you a
yes,
lawyer.
ma'am.
And she paid the lawyer $2,000?
Yes, she did.
What was the lawyer's name?
Frizzell.
Was he helpful?
Very much so.
How much time did you serve in Tennessee?
I was given 1 year, and with good time, if I earned behavioral credits, which allowed me to do 7 months.
What'd you come back to Springfield for?
I love it there.
Good. When you came back to Springfield, you moved in with Miss Curry for 5 months. What happened?
We were getting back together, doing well, and she felt she needed to tell me that she had an affair when I was locked up. And I felt she should have took that to the grave. Because now, after I come back thinking we finna get back together, that is, you love me, I want nobody but you, blah, 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 blah. But now you want to tell me your secret.
And that,
but that was going on all the time.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Go ahead.
I couldn't take it. I mean, you telling me, and I was able to see her by a home wave computer, and everybody's laughing and saying, hey, Rudy, we miss you, we love you, we waiting on you to come home, I'm yours, I'm sitting here, and now all of a sudden, you had an affair. I mean, okay, well, there's nothing I can do about that. So I'm going to move on.
So that's what you did?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So getting back to our original statement, Mr. Dawson, what you said was pretty honest. What you said was when you're in prison, you say pretty much whatever you have to do to get what you need. So
exactly.
You did, in fact.
Yes, ma'am.
So you did, in fact.
I do not deny that.
So you did, in fact, tell her, if you get me the lawyer, I'll pay you back.
Yes, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,000. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy...
The defendant's son caused a flood in the house.
She admitted to her son breaking the pipe.
Do you remember what happened with things?
Judge Judy.
He was lying to me all the time.
Yeah, her jealousy.
I think they were both playing me.
Somebody else.
They'll learn. They'll learn.
She made me tell her. I mean, she kept asking me, kept bugging me.
I guess I gave him enough to make him confess.
So I broke down and told him.
Which was a good thing, because I probably would have still been there.
A pair of scissors in my hand.
I did not attack him with scissors. He was telling a lie.
One thing was the alcohol, and two was the alcohol.
If I would have attacked him with scissors, I would have been charged.
They did come and arrest her. They let her go. I don't know why.
I'm going to keep my distance.
There's no relationship.
I have a family that loves me, so that's where I'll be.
When teenagers talk fast, I have a problem with that.
Looking for quick justice after her phone is broken.
Slowly, what did you say to her?
I said, Haley, what happened to my phone? And then she immediately,
you're moving too fast.
Will her need for speed cost her?
I said, well, it's cracked. That's when she said, well, I don't know how it's cracked, but I probably dropped it.
She said to you, maybe I dropped it? How come you left that out before?
I don't know.
Because you were talking too fast.
Judge Judy.
Of Judge Judith Scheinman. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy.
17-year-old Jasira Ross and her mother, Lois Harris, are suing 21-year-old Haley Brown for breaking Jasira's cell phone.
Order. All rise. It's case number 102 on the calendar, the matter Harris versus Brown. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat, please.
Who's Lois Harris?
Me.
And you're Jasira?
Yes, ma'am.
It is your claim, Jasira, that Hallie broke your phone.
Yes, ma'am.
And you want her to pay for it.
Yes, ma'am.
Hallie says she didn't break your phone and she's counterclaiming for harassment, right?
Yes.
So, Hallie, I gather from reading your answer that you and the plaintiff know each other. Why don't you sit down? You can sit down. That you and the plaintiff know each other.
Yes.
Are you friends?
Yes.
Tell me about the phone. Did you ask to borrow her phone?
Yes, I asked to use it while we were at work.
Do you have a phone of your own?
Yes, but I didn't have it that day.
Why not?
I was letting someone else use my phone at home.
Who?
My boyfriend.
Your boyfriend lives at home with you?
Well, we did. At the time, we lived together.
So he was using your phone?
Yes.
Any particular reason?
Because he was looking for a job, so I let him use my phone.
And you want to call?
I was texting my boyfriend and I was texting one of my bosses.
Well, you weren't texting them unless you borrowed her phone.
Right.
So you asked to borrow her phone about what time?
In the morning, like around 10-ish.
What time did you return it?
I texted him for a little bit and I texted my boss and put it right back in there maybe 15, 20 minutes and I put it right back in her purse.
Where was her purse?
It was on the side of the gym by a chair. Well, her purse was on the chair.
Did you borrow her phone again?
No.
That was the only time you borrowed her phone?
That was the only time.
So you borrowed it for 15 minutes and you put it back in her purse?
Yes.
Okay. And had no problem with it?
I had no problem.
Okay. Now I'll hear you.
Okay, so it was 6:17. She asked to borrow my phone, text her boyfriend. I gave it to her. She gave it back to me. And he texted her back. I gave it to her. And then, like...
So you're going too fast for me.
I'm sorry.
She asked to borrow your phone to text her boyfriend.
Yes.
You gave her your phone.
Yes, ma'am.
And?
She gave it back to me. And then I gave it back to her after he texted her. And then...
So he responded?
Yeah, he responded to her.
So you gave it back to her?
Yes, ma'am.
Does that refresh your recollection? It would be on the phone.
Yes.
So she did give it back to you?
That was earlier in the morning, though. We're talking about when I put it back in her purse.
I'm talking about the whole day.
Okay.
Now, she let you use her phone starting early in the morning.
Right.
How many times did you take her phone altogether? Put it back, no problem.
At first, I was giving it to her because we were we were at work next to each other. So I would text him, give it back to her, and then he'll text me back and give it back to me. Only time I had Josiah's phone on my own is when she went out of the gym to go handle some little kids. That's the only time I had her phone without her being around.
So, but you had no problem. She gave you the phone back and forth and back and forth.
Right.
Okay, now I'll hear you.
Okay, so yeah, I gave her my phone, and then she gave
Several
it back.
times?
Yeah, several times. And then the last time, I see Haley going over to my purse, and I, immediately rushed over there, and I seen that my phone was cracked. And I asked her, what happened? She immediately informed me that she would pay for my phone when she get paid.
No, just a second. You went over there because you saw her put the phone in your purse?
Yes, I saw her throw my phone in my purse, and then...
When you say throw it?
She, tossed it,
Okay. Well, that didn't break the phone.
No, but it was like a DSi that she got from a kid, and I guess that's what broke the phone.
What's the DSi?
It was a little boys' game system, and she said, I'm putting this in your purse, and I was like, okay. And then I seen her going over there. She had my phone, and then she had the DSi on top of my phone. She tossed it in there, and then I ran over there, and I was like, what are you doing? You should have put my phone back in my hand.
You know, Miss Harris, I'm not following you.
You're not following me?
No. I'm not following because you're not making yourself clear, because it's my job to follow people. If she took your phone, purse is soft.
Yeah.
Right? You went over when you saw her put the phone in your purse. I don't understand why.
I'm guessing my phone was already cracked. That's why she put my phone in my purse, because I gave her my phone in my hand. You would have thought she would have gave me my phone back in my hand, and then...
So what you're saying was when you went over, she was still near your purse, and you took out your phone? Not her,
Yes, ma'am.
Was the phone in the purse?
Yes, ma'am.
Who took the phone out of the purse?
I took my phone out of my purse.
And the phone was cracked?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, slowly, what did you say to her?
I said, Haley, what happened to my phone? And then she immediately...
Just a sec. You're moving too fast.
Okay, I'm sorry.
When teenagers talk fast, I have a problem with that.
Where?
You said, Haley, what happened to my phone?
Yes, ma'am.
And she said what?
Yes, and I said...
Not yes. What did she say? Look up. Don't look over there. Look over here.
She said, what happened? She said, what's wrong with it? I said, well, it's cracked.
No, I don't understand the word you're saying. Slowly.
I said, well, it's cracked. And she said, how? I said, well, you were using it. You tell me. And then she's like, well, I'll just pay for it when I get paid next week. And that was the end of it. We went back to work.
So you said to her, what happened to my phone? And she said, wow, it's cracked.
No. I asked her, what happened to my phone? And I said, well, it's cracked. And then that's when she said, well, I don't know.
You're adding things. I don't know how it cracked. Then she said to you, maybe I dropped it? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
How come you left that out before?
I don't know.
Because you were talking too fast.
Okay.
I mean, that would be the critical thing that one would say. I said to her, what happened to my phone? She said, I dropped it. Not maybe I dropped it, if that's what she said to you. And then what happened?
She said that she'll pay for it, and I just left it alone because I was at work.
And then what happened?
And then I called my mom and told her, like, Mama, Kaylee cracked my phone. And then that's when my mom said, if she don't pay for it, then we're going to take her to court. She haven't paid for it.
When had you gotten the phone?
I got it Black Friday.
Who got it for you?
I'm still making payments on it, too, so.
So you bought it yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Go.
Okay, Josiah wasn't in the gym when I put her phone back in the purse. That is why I put her phone back in her purse, because if she was there, I would have gave it to her.
Just a second. Each time that you had borrowed the phone, the 4 times that you had borrowed the phone,
I was
you would
giving
give.
it to her.
Just a second. You gave it back to her personally.
Yes, ma'am. But the last time, she wasn't in the gym.
Just a second. Well, she couldn't have been far if she left her purse there. Common sense. She couldn't have been far if she left her purse there, because you wouldn't put a valuable phone in a purse in a gym with other people there, because somebody swiped the bag. So she couldn't have been far away. So why didn't you return it to her the same way you had returned it to her 4 times that day?
Because she was out in the family center. The family center is pretty far, and we have other kids in the gym that I can't leave to go give her a phone.
Why don't you just hold on to it until she came back?
Because I was playing with the kids, and I didn't want it to be in my pocket or hold it in my hand, so I put it in her purse so that it wouldn't, the other kids, it wouldn't slide out of my pockets.
Do you have her text messages to her boyfriend? Mm-hmm. The last one? Could I see it, please? So you were having a discussion with your boyfriend. He owed you some money?
I don't even remember what those messages were about.
Just a second.
Honestly.
When can I get my money? Question. You told my mama this week, and it's been a month. Yes, I know what I told your mom. I just got back in town. Let me pay my bills, and then I'll give you your money. I may not have
all me and Josiah. Yeah, those messages are from me and Josiah.
I just want to have her last emails to her boyfriend.
It's the first message that's in the yellow. That was the last message.
Is what you're saying these are her emails to you, that she would give you money?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because they kept harassing
the boyfriend. It's emails to her.
Right.
That you were going to pay her for the phone.
Because she kept harassing me over and over again.
I don't care what for. Well, I asked you a question. Are these your emails to her?
Yes.
Telling her, you'll get your money. I may not have all of it.
Yes.
Good. How much was the phone?
The phone altogether is $500.
Show me. $416.88. Good. So clearly you told her that you were going to pay for the phone. Now you want to tell me about the harassment?
I never really agreed on to paying her phone.
Give her the other ones.
Lois Josiah's mother, she kept calling me, threatening me, and my friend, Shanika, heard her on the phone. I had her on speakerphone.
That's not my problem that you put it on speakerphone. You want to tell me why you didn't pay her?
Because I didn't break her phone. There's no, I never said I broke her phone.
Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $416.88. Your counterclaim's dismissed. That's all.
All right.
Parties are excused, Mr. Cook.
I think Josiah broke her phone, and she's afraid of her mom. Her mom's crazy. I didn't break it. If I did break it, I paid for it. So I think her mom probably broke her. She didn't want to tell her mom that. I paid my money, so why would she be mad? We don't really talk anymore. Like, why couldn't you just pay me my phone? It's kind of sad. We knew each other all our life, but hey, it happens, it happens.
Of El Sala versus Shaw. Step forward.
Vanessa El Sala is suing her former landlord, Kerry Shaw, for moving costs, harassment, and lost wages, resulting from a hostile living situation.
Miss El Sala, you rented a premises from the defendant. You moved out of the premises on your own, and now you want the defendant to pay for your moving costs, for lost wages, acts of retaliation, and harassment.
Yes.
The defendant is counterclaiming. He says you owe him for rent, legal fees that he paid to have you evicted, and that you vandalized the property. May I see a copy of that lease?
Yes, you should.
Do you also have a copy of the lease, Mr. Schmidt?
I have a copy.
Good.
Okay, that might work out better. I have mine. Dang it, she took
You have the lease? Okay, I'm going to go back to the beginning.
Okay.
According to your complaint, you say one of the problems that you had was you rented the place and the full garage.
Yes.
Show me where it says that in the lease. Because this was an ongoing dispute that you had, the two of you. Show me in the lease, including the garage.
Well, I don't really see it written in here.
It's not there.
Yeah.
If it's not there, it doesn't exist.
Well,
and now you have to understand what the law is.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you change the locks in the garage?
Yes, I sure did.
You're not allowed to do that.
So what about trying to break into my home, breaking into the garage, and harassing my children when I'm not there?
You're not allowed to do that.
So he can just enter my home with my children?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Vanessa El Sela says former landlord Kerry Shaw harassed her throughout her tenancy. Kerry is countersuing for unpaid rent, legal fees, and vandalism.
The law is when you sign a rental agreement or a lease, the entire agreement between the parties is in this one document.
I have many emails stating that he's going to take his stuff out of the garage so I could have it.
I don't care if it's not in here agreed to by both of you. It doesn't exist. It's got to be in writing, signed the same way that you signed here. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand.
Fine. You moved in with your two children. At what point was there another tenant, another adult?
There was never another adult.
At what period of time?
I didn't have anyone staying with me in a period of time. I had visitors, and my daughter's boyfriend was there a lot, and I also had him stay there at nighttime when I would work because he was harassing us.
Okay. So the answer is, to my question, you had discussions with Mr. Shaw about two different things. You told Mr. Shaw that you wanted him to clean out everything in the garage.
Yes.
And at some point, Mr. Shaw said to you, in October of 2014, there's another person staying in the house. He said to you, I'm not saying that it's true, but that's what he said to you. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah.
And pursuant to the terms of the lease, which it says right here, if you have another person staying there, he's allowed to charge another $100 a month. That's what it says here. So he said, I want you to start paying me an extra $100 a month. So far correct?
Yes.
The same time in October, you said to him, I'm going to start deducting $70 a month from my rent because I don't have full use of the garage.
That's correct.
Right? That's what you said to him. Did you start to pay him $70 less a month in rent?
Yes.
You can't do that.
He agreed to it.
Show me. In writing, signed by both of you.
He sent me a Christmas card and said in January he will move out the stuff in the garage and hopefully his $70 will be restored.
You have no right to start deducting rent. You can move, you can sue him, you can do a lot of things, but you can't breach the lease by starting to...
I paid him back the $70 I was deducting. I paid him back the $280 for the 3 months of $70.
When?
In February, and I have the receipt.
Just a second. February, did you start to pay him the extra $100 a month?
No, there was nobody else staying with me. It was just me and my two daughters, and I didn't feel like it was necessary to pay for visitors.
How old is your daughter's boyfriend?
17. And he would visit and he would look after him because he was harassing us and I felt uncomfortable and I had to work and I had to go to school.
Just a second. When did he start harassing you? What month?
January.
Not in October?
No.
So he
Apparently he was on vacation.
So he started to harass you because you had stopped paying him your full rent.
He started harassing me because with his eviction notice.
And he gave you an eviction notice
because he didn't want to take his stuff out of the garage.
Just a second. Miss Elsea, you're not following me, my dear.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What happened to the flooring?
I bought the flooring, and he never paid me for it.
What kind of flooring was there?
It was laminate flooring, and I have the receipt that I paid for the floors.
But you took out his floor.
I took out the floors.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Vanessa El Sela says former landlord tenancy. Kerry is countersuing for unpaid rent, legal fees, and vandalism.
Your lease doesn't provide you with a garage.
It was a verbal agreement, though.
I'm just trying to explain to you. What don't you understand? If it's not in this lease, it doesn't exist. And you knew that you owed him the money because, according to you, you paid him the money in February, the 3 months' rent. And you didn't pay him the money until you were served with an eviction notice. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
All right.
Because he asked for it, and I gave it to him.
Yeah. Miss, I'll say you have no case. You wanted to move, you moved. That's it.
So what about trying to break into my home, breaking into the garage, and harassing my children when I'm not there?
Just a second. Did you change the locks in the garage?
Yes, I sure did.
You're not allowed to do that.
I locked. I did
not
it for the
allowed
house
to do
too.
that.
So what? So he can just enter my home with my children?
Just a second. We're not talking. Now we're not talking about your home. Now we're talking about the garage. You changed the locks in the garage that contained some of his property
that he would not take out.
Miss Althea, you resorted to self-help. I can't help you. Now, did you pay your last month's rent?
Yes, I did.
Okay, show me. You were there until what month?
I moved out March 30th.
Show me you paid March's rent.
Well, I didn't pay March because he deleted his account, and I sent him a check, and he didn't cash it.
Just a second. Did you? So you owe him March's rent?
I attempted to pay him.
How much was your rent?
$13.90.
Now, did you have all of your stuff out March 30th?
I had plants on the outside, but I didn't have access to the house anymore.
Did you come back to the house to get your plants?
Yes.
When?
The April 1st, probably.
On what date, Mr. Shaw, did she leave the house?
She left April 5th was the last day.
Okay. You're alleging vandalism. So far she owes you $1,390. You're alleging vandalism and property taken without permission. What property did she take?
When I got entrance on April 6th.
You have laryngitis? Is that?
I had cancer.
Okay.
But when I entered the property April 6th, we had to do it through a window because it was locked and the keys didn't fit. We found the front room laminate flooring was gone. The knobs on all the kitchen cabinets were gone.
Just a second. What happened to the flooring?
I bought the flooring, and he never paid me for it. That was another issue with him.
What kind of flooring was there?
It was laminate flooring, and that was one of our agreements, that when I moved in, that he would change the flooring. And I have the receipt that I paid for the floors.
So, but you took out his floor.
I took out the floors.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. How much did it cost you to put back the floors?
$1,250.
What about the cabinet doorknobs?
It never took any doorknobs.
You didn't take cabinet doorknobs?
No.
Fine. Mr. Shaw, $1,285 for the floor, $1,390 she owes you in rent. She says she didn't take the knobs off the kitchen cabinets.
I have photos showing.
She said she didn't take them off.
Okay.
Great. Judgment on the counterclaim for $2,675 you claim is dismissed. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
If you're not going to lie...
I'm not going to lie.
We're getting a lot of lying here.
Their arrangement sounds laughable.
She did, in fact, tell me to take the car and drive the car for a month.
Next Judge Judy.
I would always look out the window and look up and see him. It's creepy.
I never loitered. Never even saw him.
My mom has been through so much. It's not fair.
The only time I saw the daughter.
Not fair, though.
Was when I was cutting a lock off.
Because he harassed us.
The garage to get at my maintenance supplies.
And he gets away with it, and now I'm...
Everything's done with.
Does this make you happy to do this to people?
Listen out there in television land.
To anyone thinking of buying a used car.
I said, I'll give you 25, and he said, make it 26, and I said, you have a deal.
Great.
One bad decision.
Why would you pay $500 more than it was worth?
I really wanted the car.
Can leave you stranded.
When I took it to my mechanic, he said, don't buy the car. There's $6,000 worth of things wrong with it, but I had already bought it.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheinle. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy.
Kara Brown says Ernest Bob Manuel defrauded her on the sale of a car when he gave her a bogus smog certificate.
Order. All rise. This is case number 156 on the calendar, the matter of Brown versus Bob Manuel.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Judge parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Ms. Brown, you bought a used car from the defendant and want your money back.
Yes.
Mr. Bob Manuel says it's a used car, and you're not getting your money back. So you found this car how?
On Craigslist.
Had you been looking for a car that was this old?
Yeah, for my price range.
Car is a 2000 Toyota Solara, and he was selling it for $2,780. Is that right?
It was dropped down to that, yeah. I believe when I started looking at it, it was $29, I think.
Did you look it up in Kelley Blue Book?
Yes.
And what was the price for it?
It was a little bit high. I think it was in Kelley Blue Book about 21.
21. Well, if the Kelley Blue Book price was 21 and he was asking 29, that's a lot higher. How much did you end up paying for it?
26.
That's still $500 more. Why would you pay $500 more than it was worth?
Really wanted the car, and I don't know how the Kelley Blue Book really works.
I'm sure you do.
I mean, I know.
Of course you do. If you look
with
a
a
car
private
up in
party.
Kelley Blue Book, you don't look it up to find out whether it's an attractive mate. You look it up to find out how much it's worth, right?
Yes.
Of course. And this car, you paid $500 more than the Kelley Blue Book said, according to you, said it was worth. So I'm going to ask you the question again. Why?
I really wanted the car.
Why did you really want this particular car?
Because it's a Toyota Solara, and that's the kind of car I was looking for.
So you were looking for this particular car?
Right. Yes.
And you went to see it? On what day?
Of April this year.
And?
And I liked it, and I wanted my mechanic to look at it, and he needed it for 2 hours, and he said that he needed to speak with his roommate because he didn't feel comfortable with me having the car for 2 hours, which I understand. Anyways, he went ahead and took it down there.
Took it to where?
To my mechanic. And to
This is your mechanic?
Yes, it is. Yes,
okay,
he is.
and?
But he didn't tell anybody why he was there. He didn't mention my name or that he was even selling a car, so nobody knew that he was there to have the car looked at because I was buying it.
How did he get the name of your mechanic?
I gave it to him.
So you gave him the name of the mechanic and the address?
Right, but we needed to set up ahead of time so I can coordinate with my mechanic that he was going to be coming.
How long did it take him to get from his place where the car was to your mechanic?
Probably 15 minutes, maybe at the most.
15 minutes there, so a half hour. And what happened when you took it to the mechanic?
The mechanic wanted to charge me $150.
Was that this gentleman?
No, Your Honor.
Was somebody else?
Yes, Your Honor.
So what did you do?
I told him I can't afford it.
Okay, and you took the car back. So, Miss Brown, so now he takes the car to your mechanic. He doesn't leave the car there, and he, I assume, tells you that he took it to your mechanic.
Yes.
And that the mechanic wanted $150. Yes?
Yes.
And he said, I'm not paying $150. And?
Because they did not know why he was there.
You can't tell me the because.
So I asked him if he could take it back.
Because you don't know the because. You don't know the because. That goes into somebody else's operation of their mind, and you can't tell me the because.
Okay.
He took a half hour of his time, took the car to your mechanic.
Yes.
They didn't inspect it. He took it back. He tells you that he didn't have it inspected and why from your mechanic, and what do you do?
I told him if we could have coordinated it, because my mechanic wasn't even there.
So you said if we could have coordinated it, maybe it'd be better. And
can you please take it back?
And he said?
He doesn't have the time.
I don't blame him. And?
And so that was pretty much that. For another week, and then I noticed that he still had the ad in the paper, in the Craigslist, and I texted him and asked him if he would be willing to go down $500 since my mechanic isn't going to get to look at it. And he agreed, or well, he didn't agree. I said, I'll give you 25, and he said, make it 26, and I said, you have a deal.
Great. And?
And he said that he has a smog certificate. It just passed smog, no problem. And when I took it to my mechanic, that was on Saturday. When I took it to my mechanic on the 27th of April on a Monday, he said, don't buy the car. It's not going to pass smog. Buy it, but I had already bought it. And so I went and I got another, he recommended that I go get another smog, and I did, and it failed. And that's why we're here.
That's why you're here. He gave you a certificate that they showed it had smog tested.
He did.
Just a second. And I assume, because I read the paperwork, yours and his, and you had the authorities, whoever they are, go to the place where he said he had it smog tested, correct?
Yes.
And those people found that there was no fraud at the place where he took it to have it inspected.
I'm not aware of that.
Well, do you have a report? You called the authorities.
I filed a report.
You filed a report?
With DMV, yes.
You filed it. Well, did you follow up?
I haven't been able to get in touch with anyone.
Oh, that's too bad.
They said that most of the cases don't even get looked at.
Just a second.
Okay.
So you can't tell me what they said. That's nonsense. If you have a report from them, that I'll see. But if you reported them and you didn't follow up to find out what happened, I can't help you. Do you have a bill of sale for this car? Can I take a look at it? Because that's your contract. contract.
Yes.
Well, this isn't a bill of sale. This is a vehicle transfer.
It was the bill of sale.
Vehicle transfer and reassignment form.
That's what he gave me.
This is what he gave you.
With the title.
He says he's selling you a 2000 Toyota sedan for $2,600. It's got 182,874 miles. Doesn't say anything about a smog test.
I have the smog right here.
No, I don't care what you have. This is your contract. This is what you're telling me. This is your contract. You signed it, and he signed it, right?
Yes.
This is your contract. He said he's telling you a 15-year-old car that's got 182,000 miles on it. That's the only thing that he's guaranteeing. Now, if he sold you this car and he put down it's got 82,000 miles and it had 182,000 miles, that's fraud.
But my mechanic, when he looked at it, said that it can't pass smog, and that says I have a certificate saying it did from him, and I went and got another opinion, and it didn't pass.
Doesn't matter. I don't care what it's... You didn't buy a car that can pass a smog test. That's first of all. You bought a car for $2,600 that has 182,000 miles on it. That's this contract that you signed and he signed. And your mechanic can't tell me that the place that he took the car to, which you reported, committed fraud when they passed the car for smog. You can't tell me that. You're the mechanic? You can tell me the car shouldn't have been purchased, right?
Yes.
Because it had lots of work that had to be done on it, right?
Correct.
And if you were advising her before, you would have said, don't buy the car, right?
Correct.
But she bought the car.
The problem I have is in California, the seller is responsible for smog, and it clearly would not pass smog.
Sir, you can't tell me that the place where he took it to have it smog, because she has a certificate. Are you saying that the certificate is fraudulent?
Yeah.
Well, you have to prove that. And the only way to prove that is to have the authorities from the state of California go to the gas station or facility where he took the car and check their equipment and say their equipment is wrong. How else do you draw that conclusion?
Can I show you my report?
No.
Okay. Well,
you can't tell me that. Take a look at her smog certificate. Are you familiar with what they look like in the state of California? Does that look like a legitimate smog report?
Yes, it does.
So either he's a forger or the place where he took it forged it, right?
Correct.
You don't know that.
I know that her failure wasn't fresh. Her failure was old, making it impossible to pass smog, which is why I told her to get it smogged immediately after, and it failed for the exact reason that was in our report. That was fraud. You can pick up a phone call still and get a car smogged without even bringing it down. There are shops...
Is that what you did with the car?
Absolutely not, Your Honor.
Did you take the car to a facility to have it smogged?
I took it to a mechanic shop, Your Honor.
Did you give her the name of the mechanic shop?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that the place that you called?
I never
called. You
called
called the authorities and tell them that this is the place that passed this car for smog?
Yeah, I filled out my report, and I sent along the certificate that I had, and it has the shop's name on it.
And?
And I haven't heard back yet. They said they don't see most of the cases, or a lot of the cases. It's low priority.
I don't know that.
Okay.
I don't know that. Why didn't you take the car to that shop to have it smogged?
Because I wanted to get another opinion.
No. If he had the car smogged, on what date?
The 21st.
21st of what?
April.
And on what date did you purchase the car?
The 25th of April.
So, if you wanted the car to pass smog, then you take it to the facility where he says he had the car smogged, and if they say to you 4 days later, this car's not going to pass smog, and say, listen, 3 days ago you passed this car. Now you're telling me that it doesn't pass? Oh, now we're in trouble. That, with me, smacks of some sort of fraud. Now I'm going to report you to the Attorney General. But you wanted out of the car to begin with.
Because of all the things that are wrong with it.
Right.
Because it was listed as excellent. I mean, when I saw it, obviously, I knew it wasn't in excellent condition. But he said that it passed smog, no problem, but it was a $300 bill paid with 5 different credit cards.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you? If you wanted your car to pass smog, all you had to do was to take the car to the same place where 3 days before he had taken the car to be smogged, gave you a certificate, and say to them, I would like a new smog certificate in my name for this car. Either they'll give it to you or they'll say, well, we're not passing it. It was a fraud. He got this form and filled it out, and it was his fraud. But what you did was you wanted your car to fail smog because, as you just said to me, there were too many things wrong with it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
I ran towards my car. When she backed up, she hit a vehicle. When I told her to get out, she didn't put the car in park. She got out the car, and the car rolled forward and smashed into the wall.
At the police?
Ma'am, I did not call the...
Ma'am, what about the police?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Kara Brown is suing Ernest Bob Manuel for defrauding her on the sale of a car.
According to you, what you said to me 5 minutes ago was my mechanic said worth of work. Is that the number you gave her?
Correct.
$6,000 worth of work?
Yes.
So she never would have bought it. But she already bought it. And if you're a mechanic, you know you buy a used car as is, unless there are warranties that somebody's...
But it has to pass smog.
I'm not repeating myself again, sir. We understand what happened. We understand that if she wanted this car, which is a 15-year-old car, she could have taken it back to the same place that was on her smog form, and they would have passed it, or they would have said to you, I never passed this car 3 days ago. He fraudulently got a piece of paper, and he fraudulently filled it out. Then we're in a whole different ballgame.
I don't think it's fraudulent that way. I think it's fraudulent. They passed it. They did something to the car to make it pass. I don't think the certificate, I think that's authentic.
Then who committed the fraud? If he took it to a place to get it smog tested, and they did something to the car to get it to pass smog, what are you suing him for?
But it was $300 that didn't just pass. There was a lot of things that had to be done.
You have no case. When you buy a used car, listen out there in television land, when you buy a used car, you buy it as is, unless in your bill of sale you have certain things laid out. The car has never been in an accident. The car has this many miles on it. The car that you feel important when you buy a 15-year-old car. You don't buy it and then take it to your mechanic a day later. Thanks. That's all. Your case is dismissed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I knew it from the beginning that she was trying to get me into trouble.
My mechanic said that right away, just by looking at it,
I have a lot to lose, and I cannot.
The neck was cracked, and it can't pass smog.
Because of 2600.
I'm not exactly sure what that means.
Jeopardize everything I've got in the past.
Have it checked before you buy it.
Yeah, I have to have honor. You know, I cannot jeopardize it because of 2600.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Anderson versus LeVar. Step forward.
22-year-old Kayla Anderson is suing her former friend, 21-year-old Shakira LeVar, of driving her car drunk and crashing it. Shakira claims Kayla wrecked her own car, and she is countersuing for unpaid babysitting fees.
Miss Anderson, Miss LeVar is a friend of yours, is that right?
Yes.
And you were out together for an evening of partying?
Yes.
On December 15th of 2014, according to you. You claimed that she was drunk and got into your car and smashed it and totaled it.
Yes.
Ms. LeVar says that you got into your car drunk and totaled it.
He continues in a moment.
You saw somebody driving your car, hit another car, and leaving the scene, if I believe you, which I don't. I don't believe this whole case. And you didn't call the police? Yes or no?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
22-year-old Kayla Anderson is suing her former friend, 21-year-old Shakira LeVar, of driving her car drunk and crashing it. Shakira claims Kayla wrecked her own car, and she is countersuing for unpaid babysitting fees.
This happened outside a club?
Yes.
Was it a busy club?
Yeah.
What does that mean? That's a high-pitched. Was it a busy club?
Yes.
What time?
Probably around like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning.
And it happened in the parking lot?
Yes.
How many people were out in the parking lot?
Probably like 30, 45 people.
Were you drunk?
Yeah.
Were you drunk?
Yes, ma'am.
How drunk?
I wasn't at the highest level. I was able to function and still do everything that I was supposed to do.
What does that mean?
I wasn't that intoxicated.
You weren't that intoxicated. You knew.
I still knew my wares. I still knew my whereabouts. I still knew everything that was going on, everything that was happening.
Great. And I read your complaint, and you say that you saw the defendant in your car and smashing it into another wall.
Yes, can I clarify that story, please? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, we all went out, you know.
Don't start at the beginning.
Oh, okay.
All I'm asking was a question.
Somebody came into the club and told me.
Don't tell me what anybody said to you.
I went outside. I seen my car backing up. I ran towards my car for her to get out the car. She didn't see me because she was drunk. When she backed up, she hit a vehicle when she backed up. When I told her to get out.
Just a minute, so she hit another car?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
When she backed up, she started to go forward. I told her to get out of the car. She literally got out of the car, never put the car.
Describe what the vehicle was that she hit.
I want to say it was a I know it was Auburn Orange.
Was there anybody in the car that she hit?
No.
Who did the car belong to?
Honestly, I do not know.
Well, what was the license plate number?
For that car?
Yeah.
I do not know.
Then you say that she hit another wall.
When I told her to get out the car, she didn't put the car in park. She got out the car, and the car rolled forward and smashed into the wall.
And what did you do next?
People was outside recording it because they thought it was funny. I called my uncle. He came and got the truck. He told it to his shop.
What about the police?
Ma'am, I did not call it.
Ma'am.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
My rough and bumpy skin makes me feel really self-conscious. It reduces bumps 72%. Gold Bond.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. That's why we offer this free book. Call 1-800-400-5903.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
What about the police?
I did not.
According to you,
According
to you, you witnessed somebody hitting another car and leaving the scene, if I believe you, which I don't. I don't believe this whole case. You saw somebody driving your car, hit another car, and you didn't call the police and make a police report? And you didn't leave a card on that other car saying, I know who hit your car, it was me, here's my insurance number? You didn't do any of that? Yes or no?
Yes.
Did you do that?
Yes.
Oh, good. So what did you do?
The only thing I didn't do was call the police. I have got in contact with the other people. They are suing me for the damages due to their car.
Show me.
I didn't know I could bring that because it was a different case. But I do have evidence. I did not call the police because we both were drunk. I didn't want to go to jail for...
Just a second. Proof.
You look through this.
Proof.
No. I don't have proof for their car.
Go back. Go back.
Pardon, excuse me. Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
They were just $1,000 loans that she was taking out.
For what?
To go shopping, to buy food.
Not for myself.
For whom?
For him. To pay back people that were threatening him and his family.
Next Judge Judy.
I came outside to smoke a cigarette and she was backing up.
Oh no, Kayla delusional.
I waved at her and said, stop, stop. And she didn't hear me. That's when she hit the first car.
I never crashed her car. I never got in her car.
I knocked on the window for her to stop. She stopped and got out of the car.
I gave her car keys and her wallet once we got in the bathroom.
And the car went forward and went into the wall.
When I came out the club, I was so intoxicated, I don't even remember. I know I never got near that car.
I didn't call the police because we both were drunk.
Never was near that car.
I didn't want none of us to go to jail. My uncle came and got the car because it was non-drivable.
She got it towed. I remember that. She definitely got it towed, but I wasn't near it.
I mean, everybody was laughing and recording.
I'm gonna stop drinking after that one.
Not to give somebody my keys and my ID before I go into the club.
We haven't really talked after the crash, but...
It depends on how I feel. I'm not sure about it.
Hey, she's gonna hold a grudge forever. There's nothing I can do.
I said, you're ridiculous.
You admitted to the police you threw the phone into the road.
Illinois is not noted for the police honesty.
And she's hardly acting her age.
She came to the fence and tried to call me to the street to fight her. And I said, oh, Pat, shut up. And I went in my house. That's because she knew she was lying. Ask her how many times she's been married, how many men she's had.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheinland. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy.
Janetta Lapicola is suing her neighbor, Patricia Bean, for purposely breaking her cell phone and a false restraining order.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 128 on the calendar in the matter of Lapricola versus Bean.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Young lady, have a seat.
Ms. Lapricola, it is your claim that the defendant, who I assume is a neighbor of yours,
yes,
someone that you knew,
yes,
was involved in some sort of a minor altercation with you.
Yes.
And as a result of that, your phone was broken.
Yes, ma'am.
You claimed that she broke your phone.
Yeah.
Protective order against you.
Yes.
That was ultimately dismissed.
Yes.
You're going to tell me how far that got. That's the nature of your complaint. Miss Bean says that your phone dropped on the floor and it was actually your fault, and that she complained of something that I'm not quite understanding with regard to the assault that she's alleging, something about jerking her arm. Don't know what that's about. She'll explain it to me. How far away do you live from each other?
I'd say 40 feet. 50 feet, maybe.
Are you right next door to each other?
No, I have an empty lot between my house and her house.
But there is no other house there?
No.
And how long have you been neighbors?
Since 2007.
Did you move or did she move in? Who was there
I
first?
moved there.
Okay, so she's been there. How long have you been
26 years, about.
Who do you live with?
My son and his family. They live with me.
And you?
And my ex-husband.
Okay. All right. When did this incident happen? On what date?
September the 14th.
And prior to September 14th, had you and Miss Bean had any difficulty?
No, I don't believe so.
You had never had words, never called authorities on each other. You lived reasonably together. Did you ever have conversations with each other?
Yes.
Was it a friendly relationship?
Yes.
But not close friends?
No.
Great. You want to tell me what?
My driveway wanted me to call 911 because the lady next door had sliced her wrist. And I
Lady next door to whom?
To me, on the south side of me.
So it wasn't next to her house. It was her house, vacant lot, your house, and the lady next door to you.
Yes, ma'am.
When you say sliced her wrist, did you see the injury?
Yes. There were two
Did you
cuts.
go over to the injury?
Yes. After I called 911.
Because you had your phone with you?
Yes.
Go ahead. So you called 911 because she said the lady next door sliced her wrist?
Yes. And the lady on the phone from 911 wanted to know how bad it was. And I asked to see the wound.
So then you walked over to where the lady was? She was out on porch? She
was sitting on her porch with her crutches on the ground. And I told the 911...
So you looked at it?
Yes.
Tell me what it looked like to you.
It was two cuts, but they didn't look deep. And it wasn't really bleeding much at the time. And I told the 911 lady that it was not a life-threatening injury, but that she evidently needed help.
Had she fallen, or was this something that she did to herself?
She did this to herself. She cut her wrist.
Outside?
Yes.
With what?
I was told a box knife.
Did you see a box knife?
I don't remember.
Is that lady usually on crutches?
Yes.
Okay, Miss Bean, I'm going to come over to you for a moment.
Yes, sure.
You must have missed Lapricola.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Tell me what you saw.
My granddaughter and I were out cleaning up the neighborhood. I turned around. I saw the lady sitting on the cement step. Her crutches were on the ground. And I said, have you fallen? We walked across the street, and I said, have you fallen down? I thought she needed her crutches and help up because she's heavy set. And when I got up there, she had this knife.
Wait, put it down. Just tell me what you saw.
Okay, she had this knife and she was slitting her wrist. And I had Kleenexes in my pocket and a garbage sack from picking up. And I put my napkin, my Kleenexes on her wrist. And
You mean the Kleenexes that you had picked up from the ground?
No, out of my pocket, Your Honor. No, I wouldn't do
Okay,
that.
I couldn't understand the correlation to what you were doing.
I had Kleenexes in my pocket, and I
Did she say anything to you?
She did. When I got up there, she was shaking very
What did she
badly.
say to you?
I thought she fell, and I was going to help her up. And I saw the knife. I took the knife away from her. I put my arms around her and tried to talk to her, and she said, give me it back, give me it back.
Okay, so it was clear she was trying to harm herself. I assume from reading your answer, you didn't have a phone.
Your Honor, I did not know how to use cell phones, and I did not.
Good for you. The world would be a better place.
Yes.
So that's why you asked her to call.
It is.
She was outside. All right, so you made the call to 911. You looked at the wound.
Yes.
Went over and told 911 that you didn't think that it was life-threatening. Did you tell the people at 911 that she had tried to harm herself?
Yes.
Tell me what happened as you were on the phone with Miss Bean.
Well, I was on the phone with a 911 operator, and she was trying to get information from me where this occurred at and the woman's name, and Pat was yelling, and I couldn't hardly talk to the 911 lady because of that. And I just said, Pat, do you want me to call the police or not? And then I proceeded to talk to 911, and I started walking over into my driveway. So Pat came by the end of my driveway and said, I'm going to go home and call them at my house. And she was walking away. I thought, yeah, we're going to have 2 911 lines tied up, and somebody's liable to try to call for help. So I said, well, Pat, I already have her on their phone. There's no sense in you making another call to them. Do you want to talk to her? And she said, yes. And she come over and took my phone. And excuse my language, but she put the phone to her face, and she said, you... And I said, Pat, if you're going to talk like that, just give me my phone. I'll give you your phone back. I'll bust you right in your mouth. And then she threw my phone.
Where did she throw your phone?
Into the road, and it busted it.
Okay, what happened next?
I said, you know, Pat, you're ridiculous. You just broke my phone. And I walked over, picked it up, and went in my house. And then when the fire truck and the police came, I asked one of the officers if I could please talk to him after they were through. And he said, sure.
And you spoke to him and told him what happened with your phone?
I told him that she threw my phone and busted it.
You have a police report?
I do.
I'd like to see it.
And do you want the receipts and stuff, too?
No, I just want to see the police report at this time. First of all, you all got the date wrong.
Was it?
Because it wasn't in September, Miss Bean.
August.
It was in August.
Correct.
And it wasn't on the 14th.
19th.
It was the 19th.
Sorry.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Miss Bean.
Yes, ma'am.
You admitted to the police you threw the phone into the road. That's exactly what you said. You have the police report?
I do, Your Honor, and I had him amend it. I did not intentionally throw it in the road.
Well, I'm telling you, there's a very long statement here.
Yes.
And I don't know what...
She turned 8 because
Would you go outside, please? Bird, would you take the child outside? She's clearly not necessary here.
Well, she was a witness, Your Honor.
Well, she may be a witness. I'm not going to ask her to fib for you.
Well, she would not.
Oh, yes, she might.
Not.
Because you certainly... It is such a clear quote. It's not even a synopsis of what you said, Miss Bean. This is what you said. Patricia admitted she threw the cell phone into the street and also stated, quote, I don't see what the big deal is. She should have paid her bills instead of buying that expensive phone anyway. She went on to say she is just a slut, and if the wants to make a big deal, she should remove her weeds from my flowers. That's a clear quote. That's not a mistake. That's not a misreading. That's clear. And then the police report goes on, and this is not just a synopsis. The police officer has it in quotes. I was informed by Janetta, that is the plaintiff, that she doesn't want Patricia to be taken into custody, but to pay for the cell phone. I informed Patricia that Janetta does not want to pursue charges if she agrees to pay for the phone. And Patricia replied, I don't want to give the slut any money unless she can provide a bill or some paperwork showing what the phone is worth. Then I will pay her because these remarks were made in my presence along with officers and Sergeant...
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What you say to the police originally when they first respond to the scene, I take as accurate. What you fix the next day or the day after, I'm not interested in, Miss Bean.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Janetta Lapicola says neighbor Patricia Bean purposely broke her cell phone and filed a false restraining order. Patricia claims Janetta assaulted her.
All right, so now let's take care of the phone, Miss Bean.
Yes, ma'am.
You have the receipts on the phone totaling how much, $705?
Yes.
$705 is the cost of the phone. That you will pay, because that's what you told the police you were going to pay.
Your Honor, I didn't. I went and amended that.
I don't care. What you say to the police originally when they first respond to the scene, I take as accurate. What you fix the next day or the day after, I'm not interested in Miss Bean.
I truly don't remember everything.
Well, then you had a blackout. Then you had a blackout.
I was concerned, daughter, seeing this.
Listen to me. Then you had a blackout.
No, I did not.
Well, then you didn't have a blackout. Then what you told the police officer on the date of the incident was true.
Illinois is not noted for the police honesty.
Oh, Miss Bean, get over it. Now, let's get to the next thing. I want to know how far this because when the police came back to you with the paperwork, because that's what this says.
That was that night.
When the police came back to you because you said, I'll pay for the phone, money's no object. The police went and got the bills for the phone and brought them to you. And when they brought you the bills for the phone, you said, I want to talk about my injuries, because she grabbed the phone from me and she grabbed my arm and she knows I have previous conditions. Police officer looked at your arm, saw not a bruise, saw not a mark, saw not a nothing. And then you said to the police, I'm going to go to a lawyer. This is the quote. Patricia advised that all of her injuries are previous, but she thinks Janetta had caused her some discomfort. Patricia also said that she will contact an attorney to see if Janetta can pay some of her medical bills from her injuries, previous and current. I mean, you think that these officers are psychotic, that they make this up?
No, I think Officer Moore.
And what about Officer and Sergeant?
They stay together.
Okay. So this is what happened. You got very upset, and the truth of the matter is, I think that there's a difference between somebody falling and injuring themselves and you not seeing any, signs of severe injury and knowing that someone is trying to take their own life. I would say that that is an emergency.
And I told the 911 lady that.
And I would say that that is these injuries don't appear to be life-threatening, but she's clearly sitting here. She has a knife, and she clearly cut herself. So it's an emergency. Clearly, she did not like your response. She didn't think that you were sufficiently moved by what you saw.
Yeah, I guess it would be that's how she felt.
She didn't think you were sufficiently moved by the gravity of the situation. Would that be a fair statement, Miss Bean?
Yes, Your Honor. My words were that she is downplaying the situation.
So you didn't think that I'm reading between the lines. This is a new situation. I've never tried a situation like this, but it's common sense. You got upset because you didn't think that the person to whom you were speaking and asking for help, as you felt in your mind's eye, you got frustrated.
Yes, Your Honor.
And despite the fact that you are talking very mildly now and you had your 8-year-old granddaughter with you, you were cursing.
I did not say those words. I did say...
Well, that's a curse word.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Miss Bean, I said to you, you lied. You lied to me in your answer about the phone. And if you lied to me in the answer about the phone, I find anything else that you say to me suspect.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Janetta Lapicola has accused neighbor Patricia Bean of purposely breaking her cell phone during an argument.
Okay, how far did the order of protection get?
I can give the order of protection to you, but I didn't know till recently that there was even one against me.
Okay, so you didn't even know that she had filed for one?
Not until recently.
But there is none in existence?
Not now.
Was there ever?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
Your Honor, it was denied.
You filed this over a month later, September 24th.
They had went up there before, and I had to sign a release for, I was supposed to get a 911 tape or whatever it is. I did that.
Did you ask her for the money for the phone between August 19th and September?
I only sent the receipt with the police officers to her house, that's all.
That was the only thing that you did?
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
between that time and September, did you have any other contact with Miss Bean?
One time she came to the fence and was mad because the neighbors on the other side of her had talked to me at Walmart, and they told me that she was spreading rumors about me, and I told them the truth about me, that wasn't true. And somehow or another she found out we had talked, and she came to the fence and tried to call me to the street to fight her. And I said, oh, Pat, shut up, and I went in my house.
That's because she knew she was lying.
No, you're lying.
No, I'm not.
Oh, absolutely, you're lying to me.
No,
you lied in your answer?
No, I did not.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The phone did not fall on the floor. And these police officers didn't have a psychotic lapse, all three of them, and in quoting exactly what you said.
Your Honor, I have bone injuries. There was nothing that it was going to show, black and blue. I was worried about my bones.
I'm talking about the phone.
I know that, and I don't know nothing about the phone except she...
I said to you, Miss Bean, I said to you, you lied. You lied to me in your answer about the phone. And if you lied to me in the answer about the phone, I find anything else that you say to me suspect.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
If you or a loved one suffered serious complications from a transvaginal mesh product, you may be entitled to a cash award. Call 800-336-ATTY for a free consultation. One manufacturer has offered $830 million to settle cases involving its transvaginal mesh products. Call 800-336-ATTY now. That's 800-336-ATTY.
Are you the victim of an assault? Go to JudgeJudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, in your answer, you say the phone dropped on the floor. It was her fault. You told the police the day that it happened. The day that it happened, that you took the phone and you threw it. That's what you told the police. 3 of them. The day that this happened, the day that they responded. So I don't care what you updated the next day, and I don't care. I feel badly that you've had pre-existing injuries, but what you did was nothing more.
Save a life.
That had nothing to do with her.
That had... I think she took it serious enough, Your Honor. And I am crippled, and I ran as fast as I could go in my garage to get my cordless phone.
I know exactly what you did.
And I had it in this arm. I went back by her. She said, here, you know so much more about medical or medicine than I do. You take my phone. And I had her phone in this hand. And I said, my neighbor is downplaying it. And I don't even know the lady's last name. My 7-year-old granddaughter is here crying. And I was very nervous. And I know you don't care, but I do.
Whether you were very nervous. What I'm saying is you got frustrated.
She pushed the phone on me. I didn't even want it. And I continued walking. I intended to give her the phone back. And when she kept jerking me, it went to the ground, and I said, there. All of her cussing and raving was after she was making a show. Ask her how many times she's been married, how many men she's had.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. $750 for the phone, the other $750 for filing false charges against you.
I did
in
not
criminal court. In criminal, yes, you did.
No, I did
That's
not.
it.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. The risk was real.
The defendant's dog lunged at my dog. I saw blood spurting out of my dog's right front limb.
Next, Judge Judy.
I told the truth and nothing but the truth. I was concerned about this neighbor.
I think it's fair, and I think it's sad that a person in her 60s can't behave any better than she does.
She thinks she's a doctor. Whenever there's an ambulance or anything called in our neighborhood, she runs out there.
I was just trying to tell what I saw.
I hope she moves in with another man and gets away from me, you know.
I think Pat likes a lot of attention. She likes to cause a lot of trouble in the neighborhood, and she's always getting orders against people.
We was doing the work of the good Lord, and I would do the same thing today.
We could have a peaceful neighborhood if it weren't for her.
They automatically assumed it was me, said that I stole stuff.
The party was over for her and her friends.
You asked them all to leave?
I noticed a knife in her hand, and that's when I stopped asking.
But more trouble was ahead.
The next day, you looked at your car, and?
I noticed scratch marks, which I have here, if you want to see them.
She admits it. Hey, dude, I
didn't do anything to them.
Judge Judy.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheinlein. The people are real. The cases are real. The rulings are final. This is Judge Judy.
20-year-old Rami Halwani is suing 21-year-old Eva Dostada for vandalizing his car with a knife during a party.
Order. All rise.
This is case number 132 on the calendar in the matter of Hawani versus Dostada.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat, huh?
Oh, I see from the fact that we have a monitor here that we have some evidence that you want me to view.
Yes.
That I assume is dispositive of what your complaint alleges.
Yes.
It is your claim that the defendant vandalized your car.
Yes.
That she vandalized your car, she thought it actually belonged to somebody else.
Yes. It was actually his mother's car that she thought it looked like. My car looks exactly like his mother's.
Okay. So tell me when this happened.
It happened on June 6th at approximately 1 in the morning.
How do you know the defendant?
I actually don't really know her. I didn't know her even prior to that night. I didn't talk to her that night. I was just having a party.
This gentleman's house?
Yes.
What's his name?
Bashar Mashni.
Do you know her?
Yes.
So he knew her?
Yes.
And you were also a guest?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me what happened.
So I woke up, you know, it was like 12:30 a.m. I wanted to go check up on my friend. I knew he was having a party. So I go ahead and go to his house.
Okay. So you woke up at just a second.
I was sleeping all day, so.
What were you doing sleeping?
I was sleeping all day.
Why?
I had a busy day. I work in the morning, so. I was actually going to show up earlier, but.
I'm just curious. How old are you?
20 years old.
20. Well, 20-year-old people do that sort of thing. So you slept all day. You work?
Yes, I work.
Full-time?
Not full-time, but I go to school and I work.
Okay. What day of the week was this?
It was on a Friday night and then into Saturday.
So you were sleeping all day on Friday?
Yes.
Who do you live with?
I live with my parents and my twin brother.
And I know I'm not supposed to ask this question because it's, but just my own curiosity, how do your parents react when you sleep all day?
Well, I'm very productive, so they're actually they're really happy with me.
Okay. All right. Good. Perfect. All right. So you woke up at 12:30. You knew your friend was having a party. How far away from your house does he live?
4 miles.
So you took a car?
Yes, my car.
Did you buy it yourself?
I do the payments on it, but it's under my dad's name.
Okay. How much are the payments?
$500.
You?
Thank you.
Really? That's really nice. Good for you. What kind of work do you do part-time?
I work for my dad in construction, cabinet manufacturing, and I work in the mornings, 8 a.m. to 12, and then I go to school after.
Good for you. I like it.
Thank you.
Okay, so you went to his house for the party, and?
And so in the morning, after what happened was the defendant here was accused of stealing from...
Who accused her of stealing?
Bashar Mashni, okay. Because she was caught upstairs in the bedrooms where no one was supposed to be, and he actually walked her outside, and he asked her to see her bag, and when he asked her to do that, she brandished a knife out on them and everybody else.
Did you see that?
I did not.
Well, so you can't tell me about that. Step up, please. You were having a party. She was an invited guest at the party?
Correct.
Did you see her upstairs?
Yes.
In what room was she upstairs?
She was in the guest room.
What did you see her doing in the guest room?
She was with her sister and her boyfriend and her sister's boyfriend. And
so there were 4 people in the bedroom?
Yes. And I saw her pick up her purse immediately as I walked in, and there was drawers open and dressers open as well.
So you just saw her pick up her purse?
Yeah.
Where did she pick it up from?
Under the bed.
From under the bed?
Yes. Correct.
What did she say to you?
She said she was leaving, and then they forgot her purse. As I went upstairs, I noticed more drawers open in other rooms, and then I asked her to see her purse as I went downstairs. And then from there, she turned around, and I noticed a knife in her hand, and that's when I stopped asking.
Asking to see her purse. Did you subsequently find anything missing in the house?
Yes, there is a gold Michael Kors watch, my sister's, that was missing.
And that's it?
Correct.
Did you report that to the police?
I did.
You did?
Yes.
Do you know anything else about the plaintiff's car being vandalized?
No.
Have a seat. Go ahead. So now she's got a knife in her hand. He stopped asking to look in her bag.
Yes. So what happened was I didn't really notice the scratch mark until the next morning. And so I go outside my house and I just look at my car. I'm like, oh, my God, like, how did
Just a minute. So you left his house and drove back to your house?
Yes. Well, not that night. I drove my friend home. I drove him home at like 3 in the morning because I wasn't drinking or anything, so I was doing him a favor.
So you drove your friend home first?
Yes, and then I went over to my house.
So you slept in your bed that night? All right, so then you got up the next day and looked at your car?
Yes.
So it was the next day You looked at your car, and?
And I noticed a scratch marks, which I have here, if you want to see them.
Sure.
They're, it's on my police report, which I filed, it shows like that, not diameter and length, width, whatever it is.
Right along the hood of the car.
Yes, on the hood of the car.
Clearly intentional.
Clearly.
Okay, now, link it to the defendant.
Okay, so the first thing that I do is the next morning, I text her sister, and...
Whose sister?
The defendant's sister.
How do you have her number?
I have it from him.
How did you get it from him?
I asked him.
What made you ask him?
Because I remembered that he actually told me the story later on in that same night that she pulled a knife out and I just kicked this girl out because I didn't know any of this was happening until it actually happened.
So you called him because you're trying to piece together how your car got vandalized?
Yes, and so I found out that she had a knife and I texted her sister and the first thing that I sent, I have the messages here, but before this, I said, I have suspicion that your sister keyed my car.
Now, before I look at this, sir, when you asked her to leave, you said you asked all four of them to leave, the defendant, her sister, and the two boyfriends.
Correct.
Did they all leave together?
They left together same time, but two separate cars.
Two separate cars. Well, this is her sister saying she didn't know it was your car.
Yes.
Okay, so did you have a conversation with her?
Yes, I had a conversation with her on Saturday.
Saturday, the next day?
Saturday, like the morning of. Not the morning, but like...
To see the text that you have with her.
She doesn't admit to it.
I just want to take a look at it. Yeah, she admits it. Of course she does. She says, yeah, dude, I'm honestly really, I assume that this word is really, R-L-Y. Is that really?
Yes.
Yeah, really sorry. We're gonna raise in this country a generation of idiots or people who speak, because people are going to start to speak like they write. Really sorry. Hey, dude, I'm honestly really sorry. I felt ganged up on and I can get hot-headed. That's in response to the taking it to an auto body shop. Sometimes I can get hot-headed, but that's still no excuse. I will most definitely have no problem fixing your hood. I didn't even know it was your car. I feel even worse about that since you probably are the nicest guy and didn't deserve any of that. Okay.
Where would you like me to start?
You can't speak to me like you write the text. You have to actually speak so that I understand you.
Where would you like me to start? I don't know where to start, really.
Well, I'm not interested in where you went to grammar school. I'm interested in June 6th.
I actually had asked Bashara if I could hide my purse upstairs in the guest room because there was thievery apparently going on, and I was afraid of my stuff getting stolen. So me and my friend Sarah went and hid our purses under the bed, and we even asked him permission if we could do that. So when he said we went upstairs and we were doing sketchy business, it was never anything sketchy. It was just me going to retrieve my purse from the upstairs room.
This is not about the purse. This is about the hood of a car.
Yeah, and then they started accusing me of all kinds of things. Before they even knew anything was missing from their house, they automatically assumed it was me, said that I stole stuff, and I was like, what's missing? Like, I'll even help you look for it. I mean, like, but like, I realized there's no reasoning with them. They're being completely irrational. They're kicking me out of their house. Just kind of intimidated, I guess. I don't know, just because I'm like a year older than them. I don't know.
Hood of the car.
Huh?
Hood of the car.
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't do that. And I never admitted to it. All I said was, I'm sorry that this happened to you, because I am.
You know, you did admit to it, you idiot.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The first door says, I didn't do it. The second door says, I did do it, but the estimate is high. The third door said, I didn't do it, and the estimate is high. So I'd like to know what your defense is. Door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3. So you meet somebody in December. It seems to me that until you get to know them, you don't get pregnant again with another child because you're not together anymore.
That's true.
You don't have to be a genius to figure that out.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Rami Halwani says Eva Dostada vandalized his car with a knife during a party. Eva is countersuing for harassment and emotional distress.
Okay, may I please have the estimate?
And he got one estimate, and the estimate was ungodly high.
Well, there are two defenses. Either I didn't do it and the estimate is high, or I did do it, but he only got one estimate.
Well, no,
Just a second. There are 3 doors. I want you to think about the 3 doors in the game show. The first door says, I didn't do it. The second door says, I did do it, but the estimate is high. The third door said, I didn't do it, and the estimate is high. So I'd like to know what your defense is. Door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3?
Well, the thing is I offered to help him pay for the car because my dad has an auto shop, and it was going to be almost free for us to do it. And just because he was crying on the phone,
judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $959, which is the amount of your estimate. Now you have a counterclaim, which is actually pretty dumb. You want to tell me what it's about? And I have other things to do today. You want to tell me about your counterclaim?
Yeah.
Did you remember you filed a counterclaim?
Yes, I remember.
Do you remember what it was about?
Yes, I remember.
Because we don't remember the doors, so what's your counterclaim about?
I remember the doors, actually.
Oh, so which door was it, by the way?
Door number 3.
Door number 3. Good girl. Now, counterclaim.
They were harassing me, my family, my dad, my sister, basically everyone I know, and showed up at my house. A gang of boys, like, wouldn't leave my property for about, like, 20, 30 minutes. They called my dad's office asking for money. They harassed my mother, my sister, my brother.
Who do you live with?
I live with my family.
How are they supposed to get in touch with you if they don't call your mother and your father and your sister and your brother?
I didn't do anything to them.
Sure you did. Of course you did.
No, I didn't.
Of course you did. It says that you did. You acknowledge that you did. You said, I'm a hothead. You know, they were all ganging up on me. I felt threatened. I felt threatened. I'll pay for the damage. I mean, what are you, an idiot?
No, because they threatened me with the cops, and I'm going to sue you.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Why did I excuse me? Step out.
This is ridiculous.
Fair. I had my evidence. I was prepared.
I never said that I did it in the text. All I said was, I'm sorry for anybody's car. I didn't do anything.
I'm going to go get my car fixed now. I did what I needed to do, and I prospered.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Quinn versus Baker. Step forward.
Brenda Quinn is suing her ex-boyfriend, Jonathan Baker, for a loan to pay his rent and probation fines.
Miss Quinn, Mr. Baker was your boyfriend for a brief period of time. You claimed that you made 2 loans to him. You want them back. Mr. Baker said that they were never any loans. You gave him some money at some various points. He's going to explain why, but they were gifts, never discussed repayment. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
I gather from reading your papers, Miss Quinn, that you and the defendant met in December.
Yes.
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 35.
And you have 2 children?
Yes.
What about you, sir?
29.
You have any children?
No, ma'am.
Are you currently pregnant, Miss Quinn?
I am.
And that's, you told me in your complaint, you believe Mr. Baker's child.
Of course.
Well, it's not of course. You met him in December, you got pregnant in January. That's what you see. You found out you were pregnant in January.
Well, we only have sex with one person, and it's only that person.
DNA test.
I would like to get one.
I would suggest that you do.
You can pay for it. We can pay for the DNA test.
You're telling me that he's going to pay for a test? How many people does it take to get pregnant?
2.
2. Let me explain to you. I don't think that that's funny. You have 2 children. You're 35 years old. You meet somebody in December. It seems to me that until you get to know them, you don't get pregnant again with another child because you're not together anymore.
That's true.
You don't have to be a genius to figure that out.
You don't.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
How are you and your children supported?
Child support from their dads.
2 dads?
Yes.
So you're going to have 3 children and 3 different fathers?
Yes.
Wonderful. And Mr. Baker, you get ready to shell out between $600 and $900 a month because you were an idiot.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Brenda Quinn says ex-boyfriend Jonathan Baker owes for a loan to pay his rent and probation fines.
Now, how do you support yourself, Miss Quinn?
Right now, I'm not working.
That's not my question. My question is, you have 2 children. Do they live with you?
Yes.
How are you and your children supported?
Child support.
From whom?
From their dads.
1 dad?
No.
2 dads?
Yes.
So you're going to have 3 children and 3 different fathers?
Yes.
Wonderful. Terrific. That's going to be real healthy for them. Okay. Now, you want to tell me how much child support you get?
For my daughter's dad, he pays $900.
$900 a month?
Yes.
And the other child?
He pays $625 per month.
And how long were you with him?
We were married for 2.5 years and together for 3.5.
So you were married to?
Yes.
And how old is that child?
He's 7.
And the other child? You see where your life is going?
Yeah.
So is what you're telling me that you and your 3 children get along on $1,525 a month?
Yes.
Yes. Well, I don't believe that, because in addition to not getting along on $1,500 a month, you also had enough money to lend him money, cash. How do you do that with 3 people?
Well, for a long time, I wasn't paying any rent to live with my mother, so...
I assume that you were paying rent in December when you met him.
No.
Well, where were you hooking up in December?
First at a hotel room, and then at my house.
Your mother's house?
Yes.
All right, so now you're going to tell me about what you claim these loans are. And Mr. Baker, you get ready to shell out between $600 and $900 a month because you were an idiot for 20 years.
No.
Get ready.
Well,
go. First loan.
There was only one loan for $600.
$600? Yes. For what?
For him to pay his rent and his probation.
Probation?
For drug charges.
And probation that you had to pay was punishment for that?
Yeah.
She's not going to pay your punishment.
I'd never asked her to.
Did you use any part of the money she gave you to pay your probation?
Yeah, I paid for my rent and probation.
She's not going to pay for your probation. It would be like you're paying somebody to go to jail for you.
Well, she gave me the money.
I'm telling you, she's not going to pay for your probation because, in effect, it's the same thing as if you put her in jail for you because that was your punishment.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by...
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. That's why we offer this free book. Call 1-800-400-5903.
How strong is Allegra D?
My congestion's out of my way strong.
Allegra D, a fast, non-drowsy antihistamine plus a powerful decongestant.
Breathing free for 24 hours strong.
Allegra D.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Have you been cheated? Go to JudgeJudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, how much was your probation?
It was like $100.
What do you mean like $100?
I have monthly payments that I pay.
How much are the monthly payments?
It's maximum 136, and they just...
From her. How much did you pay for probation?
About 100.
How much is your rent?
$560 a month.
Why didn't you have your rent?
I wasn't working.
Why?
Because I was looking for work. I just got out of rehab.
You working now?
Yes.
Regularly?
Yes.
Prove to me that it was a loan.
I have text messages where he said he borrowed money from me.
I'd like to see them.
It's in here. I also have the bank statement from where I pulled out the money.
Okay, so you say to her, it's going to be so nice making money again and legit and decent amount. I'll be able to buy things now again for myself and not feel like a loser borrowing, with an A, borrowing money from my girlfriend. And then she says, oh, babe, shush, don't talk like that. It's okay to accept help from people sometimes. That doesn't make you a loser, so you shouldn't feel like one. Borrow, even though you spelled it B-A-R-R-O-W-I-N-G.
Yeah, spell check doesn't work right on phones.
A 29-year-old man should know that borrowing is not spelled with an A. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $600. It's just a lesson, sir. This is what it's going to be like for the next 20 years. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good. Next time, operate with a different organ. Use your brain.
In a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
We have no proof that the light was red.
That's why they pay me all this money. I have to make a decision.
Oh, Judge Judy, I'm sorry. I can't. That doesn't... Excuse me, can I?
Next Judge Judy.
To sue me when we're going to have a kid, that's not the right way to go.
I have money. I don't need it. This is more of a principle thing.
I plan on getting a DNA test, but I hope, if the child's mine, I'll be happy.
He's going to